Hello, Sharon. Hey, it's Bill Wolf. Are you there? Sharon, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Bill.
Oh, hey, do you want to, so Dave is out today, so I'll control the drawings. Do you want to give me permission to do that yet?
Hold on. Oh, that was the repeat.
Yeah,
Okay, you're good.
okay. I start getting nervous. Got it.
Bill Wolf.
Yeah, let me give you the controls, Bill.
Okay.
Hold on. Hey, Kimberly?
Yes, Sharon?
I couldn't get Sam's email, so if he wants to just hop on with your link, I'll just rename it to him.
Okay, great. I'll send it to him right now.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Are you seeing that, Sharon?
We can see it.
Okay, great, thanks.
Hello, Mark Shields.
Hey, Steve.
You guys must be item one or C1.
How are you, Steve?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Good to hear from you. Thanks for all your help.
Yep.
Appreciate it. I'm not sure where that's going to go, but there's been some decisions and we have a call into that HR committee to see if there's any hope for us this year.
Let me know what you hear.
Everything okay with you?
Yeah, I was out sick last week, but I'm okay.
Yeah, good. All the icons are so teeny. Trying to make the screen bigger. It's 100%.
Happy New Year, everybody. It is now 12:45. Montecito Board of Architectural Review consent calendar, item C1. Is that you?
That's Bill.
That's
Thank
me.
you. Is that your project, Mark?
Oh.
Hello, John and everybody. great to see you. We have worked on the plans a bit more with, as you requested, with more detail. We have our landscape architect here with us today, Jessica. And so we'll just kind of quickly run over some of the details we added. I might remind you that it is a remodel, and we don't want to overdo it on the detailing. We'll be doing a lot on site as well. But anyway, regardless, we put more detail into the project, and we have some more work to show you. So I think you might as well go to the detail sheet first.
Yeah, so all the A8 sheets, there's 3 detail sheets. There's been additional details added to the 2 that were there previous, and the A8.2 is a brand new sheet for details. So there's adequate details for doors, windows, roofs, trellises, entry gates. All of that has been added to the plans.
I think we might want to run through the trellis detail.
Well, that's
because
coming up
gonna-
on
yeah,
that
next
sheet right there.
Mhm. So our trellis detail, which is a nice detail, is out by the pool, which faces the ocean and the harbor. And you can see it's more defined here. We have steel posts or box beam posts that basically hold up a wood trellis,
It's metal.
which is thermery. I think
Yeah,
it's
the
thermery?
fins are wood, but the
Mhm.
frame
Is
is
steel.
steel.
So we have our thermery fins, which is an American product. It's ash, baked ash, which we prefer over Ipe. It's much more environmental. So we're planning to do these wood fins in between our ties, which are up here in the upper, where are they down here?
This
There's
is
no real plan, yeah. So anyway, they'll be anodized, the metal will be anodized dark or painted, and the wood will be oiled or stained. So it'll be overall, the effect of the trellis will be light and dark in color. Do you have anything to add to that, Glenn?
No, the only other thing is there was a request from the board to provide options for a metal standing seam roof, which we would love to do if budget allows. So the detailing was added for the metal roof as well.
Okay. So do you have both of those materials called out on the plans as an either or?
I believe they are on the
On
elevations.
the
yes.
elevations. Mhm.
It's not drawn with a metal roof, but the keynote probably says option metal roof.
Mhm. We're not hopeful that we could do we are hopeful we could do a metal roof, but we have to be responsible to our client's budget. So
So I don't see,
number 2
yeah, but I don't see that it,
called out.
so you're gonna paint the existing roof gray?
Yes, the existing mission tile.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, you won't see much of it in terms of walking around the home. It's mostly covered by the parapets, but it's a solution that we've done before just to simplify the overall look of the house. It's not Spanish by any means. So
How long does that paint last?
it depends, you get a good 10 years out of it.
Okay, Claire, comments, please? And do you have landscaping? There was a minor amount on this project, if I remember.
Yes, we've clarified that. Is Jessica here?
Yeah, our landscape.
And see,
architect-
for me, just to be able to comment on, I mean, this goes back to the technology. I never could download out of box the landscape plans. And it may have been just a technology thing for me. So I really can't, I mean, now I see them. When I went through and looked at the plans original, before the meeting. I never could open this.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's, I mean, I'm just letting John know that. And I also do know that, that this is a, you know, kind of an addition, and that most of the, from what I remember from the hearings, most of the landscaping is staying in place. Except there was a question back then in the beginning of this, this area that is below the house. And that was going to be some kind of ground cover, and you haven't brought in, it doesn't look like you've shown what that ground cover is
If
going
you
to look
scroll,
like.
there's a whole planting plan that you're not on yet, you're not seeing.
Yeah, do you want me to run through from the tree mitigation through lighting?
Well, I'd
planting?
like to see the planting plan. That's the thing. See, that's why when I went through before,
ladies
before
and
the
gentlemen.
hearing, I never could see. Oh, here we go. Okay.
We have 15 minutes for two projects, one of which is about a 10,000 square foot home. So
No, I understand, John. I mean, I just, you know, so then this area below, below the house isn't, I mean, I see the planting plan, but that's now just not going to be planted. Is that correct?
So if I can walk you through. So the existing cloud that shows existing vegetation below, along, like towards that lower property line, there's a huge amount of existing vegetation of a mix of oleander, rus, integrifolia, and baccharis, and a kind of mixed native slope with a little oleander in there that does a really good job screening, and we don't want to mess with that area.
Perfect. That's the answer that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then above that, where the slope has been disturbed by the pool installation, and where we want to install the pool fence, we have kind of a mixed bag of the low baccharis, the pigeon point with echium, dwarf olive, and
Yeah. It's okay.
and it's to kind of give a nice mixed grays and purples, with that under mount, or like the ground cover being baccharis. And then pretty much we're like limiting what we are showing as the area disturbed by grading, and then that's the area that's also directly off the master bedroom, where there is an existing lawn that's in for repair that we want to kind of replace and kind of fluff up a little. And we're keeping it very clean and modern, with primarily low water use succulent plants, and a little bit of a couple accent trees of acacia stenophylla.
So I know.
are you okay with this, Claire, or not? We got to keep.
I understand that, John, but I haven't seen this plan. Okay. I mean, I'll just step back and you can, I mean, I've got questions about, now I can see the plan. There's a number of trees on this plan that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there are 12. Are any of those oak trees, or are they just trees?
2 are oak trees, and that is why we have 20 mitigation trees at 1 gallon.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's okay. Now I've seen the plan, John. I just couldn't see it when I tried to see it before.
Okay, so are you okay with this?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Mark, I am not okay with that roof. So I'm going to bring your proposal to the full board, and I'm going to promote this project.
What are you not okay with, John?
The painted gray roof.
They've seen that and they were fine with it.
Well, that's great. And so therefore the full board should be able to review it and say yes to it. I don't feel comfortable with a painted product on an old roof. I just don't think it's going to last. I am one member, and I'm not saying no, but I want to hear what other members say. So, and we need to move on.
John, aren't you going backwards? We've already been there on that.
Okay, I'm going to forward this up to the full board. So, Claire, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that, John. I mean, I do really question that a painted roof. I mean, just why don't you just put a metal roof on the thing, you know.
So
I mean,
Mark, please stay with us. It's going to be one of the very first items on the full agenda, okay? Next item, please, C2.
Hello, hi, John. It's Steve Ford.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so Claire, have you had a chance to review this? This is a very large package that we had.
yeah, yes.
You
It's
guys
a large
loved the
project.
landscape plan previously.
Yeah.
And did you have any comments about this plan?
Not really, you know, I mean, it's such a large lot and a large project, and it's, you know, so I really don't have a lot of concerns about this.
Okay, nor do I. Bill, I know you're not officially a member of this group. Did you, since this project is so large, did you want to chime in or not?
I haven't reviewed the final drawings. I mean, I think I was fine with it when we first reviewed it last. And I think we were just waiting on details, so.
And I think that the details are, I think, basically drawn. I'm not convinced that they're fully notated, but they're there. So I feel pretty confident that they're going to get there the right way. So I will recommend this for the full board. I am aware that the color is just barely brighter than our guideline of 84. It's 84.64 or 69, something like that.
Yeah.
So not trying to get too picky. So with that, Mark, are you okay with this though, Claire? You've seen it all?
Yeah, I'm okay with it, you know.
Okay, so Mark, we've got about 2 minutes and 45 seconds if you want to make your case. Mark Shields? You're on mute, Mark. Mark, you're on, okay, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just go to the full board because I'm not willing to recommend approval as with only the color of the tile, only the painting of the tile. Everything else I think is fine. So, okay, I will see everybody in about 2 minutes.
When does it continue? Excuse me, John. What time?
Well, we have maybe 10 minutes worth of items. And it'll be during the Montecito consent calendar after public comment, something we have to do on COVID. I think we're going to push the election of the chair off to next week. I don't know, it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes after 2. Maybe as much as 20, but I doubt it.
Like 2:20-ish?
2:10, 2:15.
2 or 1, John? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1:10, 1:15.
Okay. We'll see you guys then.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
John forgot that we changed the time. No,
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
Okay, everybody, it's 1 o'clock. let's get started with the Montecito Board of Architecture review for January 13th, 2022. Do we have everybody? I think John and Don and Claire and myself. Tip is
Tip
there.
is not here.
I see Tip is there, but okay, let's get rolling. Okay, item 1. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to any item that is not listed on in the agenda today? Anybody out there?
No, I don't have anybody.
Nobody. Okay, thank you, Sharon. Let's close public comment. Item 2, so our report on COVID again.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's fairly obvious that the Omicron, at least for the next month, would be needlessly unsafe. So I would move that we continue only virtual meetings for the next month.
Okay, all those in favor of continuing?
That needs a second.
Oh,
I'll second it.
all
Thanks,
right.
John.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, John. I think we talked a little bit, the election of the chair and vice chair for 2022. We're gonna table that till next agenda. We've got a few people out.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move item 3, election of the chair and vice chair, to our next meeting, please.
I have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, I just have one
Yes.
comment with regards to that, is that I've already told this to Sharon. I will not be at the next 2 meetings.
Ooh.
So I'm just letting you, because yeah, I mean, I just am not. That's already been scheduled, and Sharon knows that. So then there came, then there's some other issues, but it's fine with me if you guys go ahead and do that. But I'm just saying that I won't be here or available to vote for that.
Well, at the next meeting, let's see who's around and we'll
Yeah.
figure that out at that point.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just kind of, yeah.
Suppose
Okay.
we could reach out to you through email at some point if we make some sessions and then get your vote that way if necessary.
Maybe we can make you chair and vice chair since you're not here.
Yeah, if you're not here,
Right.
I second that.
All those in favor, please stay seated.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Claire, for that. Item 4, agenda status report. I know that item 6, is
Yeah.
going to be continued.
Yes,
Is that it, Sharon?
that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that item 6 be moved to a future agenda.
Thank you.
Anybody second that?
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Opposed?
you.
All right. Minutes. We've got two minutes to review here. We'll start at the 12:02:21.
Mr. Chairman, the only change that I'd like to make is on item number 10. Under the action, the word action is repeated twice, and just delete one of those. Besides that, I thought it was a good set of minutes.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Nope.
I will move for approval of the minutes as amended.
I have a second on that.
Second that, okay.
Seconded by Claire. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's go to meeting minutes from 12/16/21.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, a few more things than that. Item number 5. This is the YMCA.
Oh,
And so I just want to make sure that everything that can you scroll up a little tiny bit more, Bill?
Are you not seeing all that?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that everybody reads this and make sure that it's enough. This is a long discussion. It's a very important item. So was it really the only, at the end of the day, was it really item number 3, which is, or item number 2, 3, and 4, I guess. So mass, bulk, and scale is referred to in 2, height is in 3, and the parking area is in 4. I just want to make sure the full board is okay with what's written there.
Yeah, I think they've covered it pretty well with the, I mean, it's pretty broad stroke stuff, so it appears
Or
to.
cannot, yeah. Well, I mean, do you think more needs to be added to this, John? I mean, or is that what you're saying? Or do you think that this is sufficient enough for the general public?
It's brief, and we were not.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of why I'm kind of trying to think back on it and going, oh my God, really? This is all we said?
This is,
Yeah.
you know,
They're pretty broad stroke comments, though. I mean,
Board cannot support height and massing of multi-purpose building or the removal of just, okay, see, no, it's number 2 and that does say what I was saying. Yeah, so I think it's okay, I guess.
you know, we have referred this back to us, not onto the planning commission, and maybe we can pick it up from there. I would feel uncomfortable if this went to the planning commission with only these comments. Are we okay since it's saying come back to us?
Oh, it's coming back to us before it goes to the planning
It
commission?
says no action taken, project to return for further conceptual review.
Okay, then,
Yeah.
okay.
and that,
I'm okay with that, because that's kind of what I think all of our statements are. I mean, you know, it's up to the why now to figure it out.
Okay?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
can I noticed a typo or a mistake on item number 3. I need to add the word building after multi-purpose. It was forgotten. Just want to make sure that's okay.
yep, sure.
yes. Okay,
Okay, so on to item number 6. My comment is number 4. You know, I was the one that talked about this. Those were the details. What I was trying to get at, what I thought I implied was architectural style unclear, period. Provide unified architectural composition and elements. Now, I did not say those exact words, and I can see why somebody would say I'm changing. This is supposed to be a report only of what actually came down in the meeting. I understand that. That's where I was going with it. What I actually said was gutters and downspouts, etc. So Kimberly, the intent is not really in what you said. You were literal, as was I. Is it okay to add that other thing, or is that not okay? Architectural style unclear, provide unified architectural composition and elements.
Mr. Chair, I believe it's okay to add that. It clarifies the statement and provides better direction to the applicant.
Okay.
Can we do that, Kimberly, as a number 6 rather than changing anything that's already there?
I think that would be fine as well.
Okay, so
As long as number 4 is not in and of itself wrong, we
it's
could
not
add
wrong.
6.
No, it's not wrong, but okay, so do you want me to say it again, or have you got it?
Architectural style unclear, period. Provide unified architectural composition and elements.
Perfect.
Capture it. Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all the comments I had.
okay. We have a motion for those revision. Anybody else have anything to add? No?
I'll move for approval as amended.
Okay, all those, second by?
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, thank you, John.
Okay, the consent calendar. Let's go to C2, Malcolm first. Both Claire and I reviewed it. This is a very large house on top of the hill down at Sycamore Canyon. Both of us thought it was acceptable as submitted and would recommend final approval as submitted.
And I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries to approve item C2. Now,
Okay, item C1.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
now. Good luck with that. Item number C1, this was a project brought by Design Arc, Mark in particular. And I thought every aspect of the project was okay. I am not willing to recommend approval because they are concerned about the budget, which I think is great. The design team would love to have standing seam gray roofing. They're not sure they're going to be able to afford that. And what they're proposing is to take the existing mission tile roof and paint it gray. And I was not willing to do that on my own. Mark, I don't see. Mark, are you there? So,
Hello.
okay, Mark, did you want to say anything more than I just said?
That's the basic idea. I think ultimately, when our clients do have the budget for a metal roof, they will head in that direction. But in the meantime, we're hoping we can just paint it gray, and that muted gray. I think it's just going to go away relative to the general massing of the project. I think certainly in the future, we'll have the option for the metal roof, which we did include on our keynotes, which is on page A4.1. We have some keynotes to that effect. So that's the direction we like to head. They're concerned about the budget. I get that. And so we're not taking the roof off. We're not planning to change it. If worse comes to worse, we just leave it and not paint it. But I think painting it would be a step in the right direction. And, if it wears off in 10 years, we can repaint it or move forward with a metal roof. So we just like that flexibility. And the clients were very concerned about the budget, and the roof is a big deal. We'd rather have the swimming pool that would really make this project more amazing. So that's what it comes down to. And I feel that a painted roof is going to be fine. You barely see it, especially as a pedestrian walking around the house. So I just don't think it's that big a deal.
So go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, I just have a question, Mr. Chair. So when you're saying, Mark, that this is a mission tile roof, so it's now mission tile and it's red.
It's kind of not red. It's kind of that weird mix of color. It's not exactly attractive. So it's not true, clay, beautiful mission tile with concrete lifting. It's sort of out of place in a way with the kind of awkward 80s Spanish that someone had designed years and years ago. So we're just trying to clean it up, simplify everything.
Well, I understand, but we're an architectural and roofs happen to be, the colors of roof are really important for us, and so you're now with this, you're proposing a change in the actual color of the mission tile. You're going to paint it gray. And and that's so is there an option to not paint it, just leave it the way it is?
Well, we can just leave it. Certainly that'll cost less.
Yeah, that's my question too, Mark, is the with the color palette that you have, I don't know what that is, but could the red tile roof just remain as it is? And then you're not fussing with it at all. I mean, it looks like there's some facial work too that you're having to deal with as well. So are you having to patch and replace some tiles in some places?
Not really, not enough to make a significant change in redoing the roof. We're mostly just adding on to it.
You got
So-
crickets and things kind of happening, and you're
Yeah.
shaving down some fascias and stuff like that. But more or less, you're going to try and keep the body of it.
We're trying to keep it because it's just going to be cost prohibitive to change it.
And what is the color of the building itself at this point? I mean, we can go back to look at your color board.
The building is white.
The building is white and it's staying white.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think we do need to move on. I have concerns about long-term maintenance. I was actually on the ABR way back when the sculpture down across from Test Parker's was proposed, and that paint job was terrible after about 5 years. Now, I'm not saying Mark's is going to be the same. Paint
Not
is
rainbow colors.
Yeah, exactly. But paint doesn't last forever. This is an old roof. So I'm just concerned it's going to become kind of look like a leper as things start falling off certain portions of it.
Well, we'd repaint it if it started to look bad.
Yeah, well,
I have
that's
a
what they told
question.
me. Yeah, go ahead, Tip. I don't want to dominate this.
Yeah. Can this be seen from the street or from above?
No, we have, it's downhill, but we have a large, our entry gate will completely disguise it from view from the street.
Can you see the house on the street now?
Now you
Oh.
can, but you won't be able to when our entry gate is up.
Oh, here
It
comes.
It concerns me about the precedent-setting problem. And once that happens and we approve it, who knows what's going to happen around town?
Yeah, and I'm also concerned because I know the neighborhood, you definitely can see from above, looking down.
Well, this, yeah, there's a house right above it that looks right down on it, you know.
And personally, if I prefer we leave it red until we change it, then paint it and deal with the issues later.
I would tend to agree with that as well.
So Chip, you want to make a motion then?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion, to approve it if the applicant willing to go ahead and change it to the metal roofing. Other than that, the board prefer to leave it the existing roof the way it is.
So what we're saying is we're going to approve this project with a painted Mitch and Todd roof.
No, with the
No.
existing roof. Approve the project as submitted with the existing roof to remain. The option of it,
okay.
the option of a metal roof is approved if they wish to go that way.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay. So I'll second that. I'm okay with that.
All right, seconded by Claire. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, thank you, guys. Let's go on to MBAR member informational briefings. Is there anything anybody has to report about their doings? No, nobody, nothing? Okay, all right, let's close that. Let's go on to item 7, staff update. Is there anything to update, Kimberly or Sharon?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Nothing on my end, just welcome back and hope everybody got a nice break from the grind here.
Okay, Bill, I do have something to say. We are filling up the agendas out to March.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good, thank you. Okay, let's go down to.
Mr. Chair, there was something else, and I don't know where to put it in the agenda, so I'm just gonna throw it out there if it's okay. We've had a long-term member, Sam Mapus, has now stepped down from MBAR after 24 years of service. And I just think that our MBAR just really needs to acknowledge that service and the contribution that Sam Mapus professionally has done for Montecito. And I just, anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I just, and maybe it's under staff update, I don't know. But I just want to acknowledge the service that Mr. Mapus and Earth Forums has done for the community of Montecito for the last 24 years. That's it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Claire. That
Yeah.
say that again.
I was just thanking Claire for that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, definitely Sam's tenure is going to be missed for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both personally and professionally.
He's a gentleman.
Yes. Yeah. And we will have someone stepping into position when they're ready, which should be very soon. And we'll announce that when that time comes. Okay, let's go on to our standard agenda item 1. This is 1515 Lingate. Is the applicant online? Please give us your name.
Hi, Kristen Stoyanova, project architect for Anna Kappa Architecture, and Dan Weber is also in attendance.
All right, so go ahead and give us your presentation. I'll get these drawings up here in a second.
No problem. So just a synopsis of our project scope. We are here for a renovation of a 1924 era building in the hedgerow of Montecito. This residence is located on the corner of Lingate Lane and Monte Vista Lane, so really close to San Ysidro. For the most part, our scope here is pretty small. We have an interior reconfiguration for the kitchen and dining area, general bathroom renovations, new windows and doors throughout, and we are also doing a small amount of exterior hardscape in the area of courtyard and just to activate a little bit more of the indoor-outdoor living for our clients. And they have also requested a very small addition in the area of the master bedroom.
Bill, before you leave that page, can you go look under separate permit and make sure that everyone realizes it's right under scope of work?
Yeah, if you could zoom in there.
You see that lower right-hand corner right there? Can you, so,
This?
yeah, just because there is a significant, in my opinion, a significant amount of work that's will affect this project that's not being reviewed today.
Yeah, under a separate permit, we have applications for pool and associated equipment and a small accessory dwelling unit on the property. Because of the nature of the property, these are actually undergoing a modification. So there's a little bit of, this is not part of our presentation today because we don't really know what will come with the modification process.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Right now, we're looking at the existing kind of photos and elevation to give you guys a little bit of the character of the existing residence. We did hire a historian on this property, and he describes this as not being historically or architecturally significant of a structure, but he has called it out as being a blend of medieval European cottage style with some Spanish revival elements, which I believe are pretty inherent to this neighborhood. I think there are quite a few residences that kind of, blend this or blur this line. It is entirely screened by about approximately 14-foot tall hedges that are about 6 feet wide in depth. And this aerial photograph kind of really depicts, the nature of the only portion of the property that you really see is the existing 2-car garage. And even the entryway is incredibly screened from view from the street and any pedestrians walking. I think overall, as you can see from the site plan, there's not a lot on there, and we're not proposing any radical improvements at this time. Because the house is existing, it's, it kind of is what it is. It would be incredibly cost prohibitive to, demolish this residence and reconstruct it. So we are proposing to work with the existing shell of the residence. And again, on the exterior scope of work, the biggest change that we're proposing to do is to replace the exterior windows and doors. They are currently of a wood nature. They're single pane and they're quite old. We'd like to replace them with something that's more energy efficient, double glazed windows that are more of a real divided light steel system. We're looking at Riviera bronze as an option for this. And you can see on our demolition plan, what is being shown there is for the most part just the windows and their openings. Majority of these will stay in their existing openings, although we are proposing.
Can you scroll down to the elevations?
Yeah.
I think you're in charge of both ends here.
Yeah, our elevations,
Okay,
if
here
you
we
want to
go.
look at the proposed ones, start on page 16. These are the existing elevations, just showing the windows that we are demolishing. That's the big change that we're proposing here. And our proposed elevations are indicating a new window and door type. Again, those steel divided light windows. We are proposing for now, the roof is in really good condition to retain the existing roof structure. And we're trying to, match the existing character of this residence as much as we can. We obviously, the windows and doors are a bit of a modernizing, but we feel like it's still in line with the character of what is there.
Okay, does that conclude your presentation?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we'd just like to request to be continued to preliminary review for this project.
Okay, let's go to questions of the board. Does anybody have any questions? Don Sharp, do you have any questions?
Yes. What is the existing roof material?
I believe it looks like a composite or a interpretation of a slate shingle. I am not 100% sure on the material of that, but it is, you can see it best on the existing photos on page 4. It's kind of one of those composite shingles that's supposed to look like not a wood, but more of like a slate shingle.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, thank you, Don. John Watson, questions?
Yes, please. Can we go to the site plan, the proposed site plan, please? I don't. So.
I think the best one is that overhead.
Okay, so
Oh, there
Kristen,
you go.
new outdoor fireplace, but there's a potential for an outdoor kitchen. Is that shown on this plan anywhere?
The outdoor kitchen would actually be a portion under a separate permit, and it would be tied to the modification. So it is not a portion of this project at this time. And it has honestly been eliminated from our other portion of scope.
So it is never a part of this project?
No, it is not.
Okay, and there's a pool and equipment. Can you tell me where you are thinking that might end up, please?
Because it is under a modification for this property, I think it could change, but right now we have identified the corner of Lingate and Monte Vista as the probable location for that property. So it would be.
Is that the upper right-hand corner on this drawing?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and about how, okay. Very good, thank you.
All right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Okay, Claire, did you have any questions?
Yes, I did. Are the actual size of the new windows the same size as the openings of the old windows? Or are the windows getting bigger, wider, whatever?
The majority of the windows on this property, I would say about 60-70% are staying, exact same opening being replaced with new windows. Just, different, obviously, window and door system. However, there are some new doors and windows that we are proposing that would be widening of openings, although the head height will stay exactly the same as where the existing.
Also want to remind you that you can't, this is Dan Weber from the applicant team, you can't see one single door or window from the street. The entirety of the property is screened by a 14 plus or minus foot hedge.
Yeah, I got that. I just, but when we started talking about, so is there, can you show which windows are getting bigger?
Yeah, of course. I would say the majority of the windows that are getting bigger, like if we were to look at this elevation right now, are the ones in the courtyard. So there is an internal facing courtyard that we would really like to open up to both the living areas, the kitchen, and the primary suite. And on the other elevation, you don't really see it here, but there would be a little bit of opening of windows here and on what we would call the east elevation. That would be connecting a little bit more to that deck area that we're proposing. It's about a 6-inch permeable wood deck on grade. So on this elevation right here.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Okay, all right, thank you, Claire. Tip, did you have any questions?
Yeah, well, just what was the FAR number? I couldn't read it.
I think it's 114.
114.
Yeah, and that is including the increase of the addition for the primary suite. Basically, it's a 2% increase from what is existing of this residence.
Thank you.
No problem.
And then my question, the chimney cap, is that existing? Are you proposing to shroud or change that at all? Or is that just...
Currently, we are proposing to keep it as existing, and I am also proposing to match and do an exterior fireplace that has the same profile. I think, as a portion of that right now, the chimney cap we're proposing to keep, but I think it could be something that we consider to upgrade or modernize that slightly.
It looks like it's got 2 exhausts, maybe.
It does.
One's got a spark arrestor and the other one's got sort of the old version on it. Hard to tell right here.
Yeah, I think a cleanup of that could be something that we would definitely consider.
And then the last question I had was, just so I'm reading this properly, is this dark line your setback? That's probably your reason for the modifications in your future work. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's your setback. So all of outside setbacks currently.
Yeah, about, I think, it was something like 60% of the residence is existing non-conforming to the setbacks of this area.
Oh, got it. Okay. That would have been really good to have said that at the very beginning.
Sorry about that.
That's why it was so confusing to figure out what was going on.
So you're proposing to add, this is the area of addition, which is outside of the setback. Do you need to request, or are you allowed? I guess is that your rear? How are you able to do that? I guess.
I think this is a little bit of a question for our planner in seeing if there was any way forward to kind of move forward with that portion. I think in this one, like planning and zoning wise, we see this as a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, I think the planning staff informed us that we are allowed to propose a certain amount of encroachment, a certain percentage of encroachment into the secondary setbacks. So I think it's a really handsome addition to the property, and again, invisible in the most private corner of the property. So we're going to rely on the planning staff's direction to us on how to proceed with that. And that's how we've arrived at where we are right now, by proposing to you this first scope of work, which is simple and can be moved along more expeditiously, so that the owners have the ability to get going with their life while these secondary elements get potentially held up by a longer modification process.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, it is possible that they could utilize a variable side or rear setback.
Yeah.
And that would not require a discretionary hearing such as a variance or a modification, but could be approved at the staff level. director level.
Perfect. Thank you, Kathy.
Bill, in their photos array, is there a picture of that particular, is there a shot of that part of the house?
Is this it here?
I think that I think that's the opposite corner. So it is showing a little bit of that roof line that we would be extending right here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, no worries. Right here, this is the element. I think because of the screening of the plantings, it was a little hard to get a good shot of that.
In the
Oh, right
bottom
here.
middle, in the very bottom middle photograph, those little those steppers in the bottom middle photograph lead back to that corner. So you
and this is exactly what I wanted to see, because you've already told us that we've got huge hedges, so nobody's really ever going to see this small addition from outside the property, and that's why I was asking. I mean, if there's the land use issues, but architecturally, it's not going to impact anybody. So, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Claire. Let's go. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Questions. Let's go to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this item number 1-1515 Lingate? Sharon, anybody?
Mr. Chair, Sharon received no comment letters or emails, and there is no one in the lobby with their hand up.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kimberly. Let's close public comment and go to board members' comments. John Watson, what are your thoughts on this?
In and of itself, I don't have a problem with this. Today, we had 2 site visits, and I actually did a drive-by on the way over to our first site visit. And Dan does correctly state that this is a hidden project behind that. It is also in a very dense area of the hedgerow. While we're on this, this is upside down, and this diagram is upside down in comparison to every other drawing, so it'd be nice if you turn that over next time, but
sorry about that.
That's fine. And my comment, though, is when I see an outdoor kitchen, pool equipment, and potential for an ADU, I see heavy urban development. And I am concerned about that. And incremental this and that. And, we all know that the state wants to fill up every square inch of every piece of property in the state with housing. And I have a feeling that the laws that are governing that are such that they may accomplish that with this site. And therefore, by the order in which they present their projects to the planning department, we may or may not review that. But outdoor kitchen, pool equipment, pool, I'm having trouble with the amount of development on the site. No longer semi-rural, even though this whole area is very, very dense. So I don't know how to address that particularly, but that is my comment.
All right, thank you, John. Don Sharp, your comments.
Thank you. I somewhat echo John's comments that I really would love to see the location of the pool, the density of landscaping and open space taken up by that and the additional unit. But I know that's not here before us today, but John's other comment about the outdoor kitchen and the urbanization of the whole site, almost completely covered, is a concern of mine. And again, I don't really know how to resolve that in my mind, but the density, the overall density of the site is a concern of mine. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Don. Claire, your comments? Claire?
Well, I have, I really don't have an issue with the 58 square feet of addition to the property. I do have an issue with the fact that the permitting process has been kind of bifurcated so that we actually can't see everything that's going to happen on this lot. And that's the concern. I'm aligned with Mr. Watson and with the fact that we aren't allowed to review ADUs, but you could have shown us where the pool was going to be, where all of that was going to be, but you chose not to do that. So I'm going to have a hard time moving this project forward unless I see what's being proposed, because you already told us that you kind of split it into two permits. Well, wait a second, what are you proposing on the second permit? So which is kind of in line with what everybody's saying, is that we've got a project. I'm okay with a little addition, but where's the pool? Where's all of that stuff going to go?
Yeah.
You know?
When the time's right, I would love to respond to these comments before you make a motion.
Let's get through our comments here first. All right, thank you, Claire. Tip, what are your thoughts?
Since the applicant kind of notify us of all the other projects, pending project that will be included in this parcel, my take is that I would like them to come back and show us everything, since they said they would do it on the drawings, that it's a other project. That way we can see the overall scope of everything.
All right, thank you, Tip. Yeah, I mean, the project that is in front of us that we're looking at, the small addition, is pretty innocuous, and I don't have any problem with that. Or the changes to the existing structure is fine. I think those are all nice additions and changes. The fact that you did list items here under a separate permit is kind of causing a bit of an issue, I think, with everybody, because it does sound like it may be a little too much to fit on such a small lot in a neighborhood that has small homes and small character and very quaint feel. So I don't know what the best way to approach this is. Kimberly, I mean, these items that they're showing here, would these have to come back to us? The ADU, of course, not, but the kitchen and the pool equipment and the pool, would that not?
So Mr. Chair, pools are technically exempt from Board of Architectural Review. However, the pool location is driving the modification. So as you know, modifications require Board of Architectural Review. So you will be reviewing the pool location under the modification. The flat work, decks on grade, anything non-structural, non-building is technically exempt.
Now, the outdoor kitchen, if it's, maybe it doesn't have a roof cover over it, but it's got a countertop and a barbecue and a sink.
Yes, in my mind, the outdoor kitchen must meet the setback or be included in the project description as part of the modification.
The outdoor kitchen's been removed from the project.
Yeah, it's not part of our modification at this time.
It's not part of the project at all now or future.
So back to the board real quick. John, I'm going to go back to you. Knowing that the pool will need to come, there's nothing we can do about the ADU, but knowing that the pool, if they put it outside the setback, or into the setback area, will have to come back to us. Can we vote on this proposal excluding those items?
Okay, so we are on for conceptual today. There is no vote no matter what we do, okay?
Right.
I would recommend that Dan and his team, Kristen, come back and please provide as much information as you are willing to provide. And then at that point, we will make some decisions. Dan, sort of the underlying driving force in Montecito is to maintain and preserve the semi-rural, low-intensity residential character of the neighborhood. And I'm going to have trouble with that with the amount of development that I think you're proposing. So just to give you a warning so you can get ready to address that, please.
Would you mind if I responded to the comments before you make your motion?
We're not making a motion today,
No,
but
not making a
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, it's up to you about him coming.
If you can keep it brief.
I'll keep it very brief. Yeah, we've already been working on this project for over a year. These clients have gone through torture with the planning staff. And it's been a real struggle to figure out how to move this thing forward. That's the reason that we have proposed a project to you that's extremely minor in scope. It's consistent with the existing character of the house. It's 100% invisible from the street. And it's very handsome. It's an easily approvable project. So I think that the characterization of the property as dense urban development is not accurate at all. And I would encourage you to look at a Google aerial and look at the relative density of this property compared to the adjacent properties. And I think you'll find that it's perfectly consistent, if not less dense than the average of the immediately surrounding properties.
I think what we'll ask you to do is present your case next time you make your argument. You know what our comments and our feelings are, and I think maybe if you come back with those tools in your quiver, then that'll help us make our decision. So,
Mr. Chairman, also to that end, they did ask to come back for preliminary. I think that's not quite enough. They should come back for preliminary and final if it's really and truly this small scope. But that being said, I will be looking at the density of the project, hardscape, et cetera, just so it's very clear that that's coming, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. We like I said, removed the kitchen. We did show you today exactly where the pool is going to be, and we were transparent about the future projects and the reason that we presented it as such. We would really love if you could kick us on down the road so we could keep this project moving and get these owners the ability to remodel their kitchen and replace old doors and do simple things that they need to without getting held up for many months. You are going to get a crack at the pool. We do not plan to present the accessory dwelling unit to you, but it's very small. It's smaller than the footprint of the already undersized garage.
You want to be also very clear, pool equipment. That's one of the things that MBAR is very, very sensitive about. So when you come back, would you please locate the pool and the pool equipment where it's going to be?
Yeah. We absolutely will show you that. But as part of a separate project, I'd really like you to evaluate this very modest project on its own merits so that it can be moved forward.
I think you heard our comments, so let's move on to the next meeting. And if you have everything we needed, then we can grant you preliminary plan with the next meeting.
Further concept review then on this and move them.
But we are putting on
preliminary. I think we ought to go preliminary final next time.
Okay, all right, we'll give them. Come back for preliminary and final.
They may not get it, but let's give them a shot at it.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Okay, let's go on to item 2. This is 2303 Bella Vista. Is the applicant online? Oops. That's the same. Do we have the applicant online for 2303?
It looks like Jennifer. Where is she?
We're here. Danny, I think, is on here as well, and I was gonna.
Sorry, there I was muted.
Let Danny lead you off on this one.
This really is Danny Day.
Really?
Mr. Chair, if it's okay, I'd like to start on the first about 5 pages and then switch to the site photos. And if that's okay, I think that would make the most sense.
Start with the drawings.
Yeah, I'll just kind of start with the first 5 pages and then kind of familiarize you with the site, with the photos. So what we have here is an existing, 4,368 foot house. I would describe it as it's been heavily renovated since its original in 1947. It could probably be described as a Japanese Mediterranean. That makes sense. It's got plaster walls with black tile roof. It's kind of got the flared eaves. The owners would really like to bring it to something more authentic and something that really embraces the natural characteristics of the site. It's quite beautiful. It's 5 acres. The house and development only occupies a small northern portion of the site. The rest is very native. So the project scope is to renovate, modernize the house, change the style, and essentially demolish this middle portion of the house that has a split level and rebuild it at the same level and kind of reorientate that towards the southwest, which is a really nice view towards the Santa Barbara Harbor and coast. So you kind of remove that kink in that middle section. And another part of the scope is to eliminate, it's a pass-through drive it occupies a lot of site, and it's not very functional. It's really skinny. There's nowhere to stop. You get to the garage and you can barely turn around. So we've decided to consolidate, only come in from the east side, use retaining walls to make it a little bigger, and then just stop at the east portion of the residence. So we kind of give that part of the site back to the house and let them look out at something beautiful rather than a driveway.
Oh, look at that. Fabulous.
So given that, I think if you switch to the site photos now, it'll help you understand the property a little bit better. Then we'll go back. Sorry, I should have put it in that order, but
That's all right. We can work with it.
So you can see one of the elements that will be demolished in this proposal is there's a big tower that's just a dining room. It's a 2-story element. It's very disconnected from the rest of the floor plan. It doesn't have good flow. It's the most visible part of the property from other parts of Montecito. So I think that's an improvement. And go next, yes. So here's some views of, that would be the driveway gate right there. And there's the tower in the background that we'd be eliminating. So the street it's pretty well screened from the street. There's a big shoulder, and keep going. This is that pass-through area. This on the upper left, that whole section of driveway and that sort of covered drive-through will be, that'll be all gone. And let's see, keep going. There's an existing garage with the gym below. It will keep, but it'll be upgraded to match the materials of the residence. Right there, see that right where your pointer is, we'll add a retaining wall there that will increase, the parking area and make that a little more functional. So we're reducing a lot of the pavement, but we're kind of improving that little area that we will keep, make it more useful. All right, keep going. There's a big tower. So yeah, there's an existing pool that will be replaced as part of the project. And on the lower left, there's an existing pool house / guest house that will be demolished and rebuilt as an ADU. You will see that in this project. It's covered separately, not under your review, but what we've been learning from planning staff is that there's, like, if a trellis is attached to an ADU or a wall, that those elements of the ADU are subject to review. So we just thought it'd be easier to show you the big picture. It's very site-based, the ADU. It's kind of a concept of a site wall. the ADU is hidden behind it. There's a green roof. So if we don't show the ADU, the whole landscape plan doesn't really make sense. So you'll see it just so you can see the big picture. Yeah, right there. So now we can just keep going through the slide. You can see that the reoriented section in the middle. This is a demo plan that shows the portion of the house that's going to be demolished and reconfigured.
Danny, can I jump in here?
Sure.
I have had a chance to review these. I think his renderings do a great job. Maybe we can just jump right to those.
Okay. Yeah, they're coming up.
This is kind of helpful too, to see where.
Yeah, where that tower was.
I think the renderings are in a different.
Well, they're in both places. So
Oh, okay.
I think this one
Oh, here we
page
are.
has them all, so that's pretty helpful. So that's the new front entry with no driveway. It's a minimal landscape using natives, gravel, not a lot of pavement. Just trying to, the views up to the mountains are very high up to the north, and it's just a nice place to sort of sit and look up and see the hills kind of glowing when the sun hits them. And then the ocean views are more obvious, but again, trying to break down the pavement and make it feel much more natural and kind of organic in terms of the connection between like the site, the residents and the site. And that wall on the lower left, that's the ADU behind it. And the green roof, it's down, so it's not blocking view from the house. But again, not trying to keep it less about the architecture and more about just the site. Kind of hidden, it's a hidden ADU. So, and then I guess one benefit, the view to the upper left, when we reorient, we do get an opportunity to kind of have these views off to the east, which are also nice, which the other project didn't have. So when you're kind of in that patio, you get an extra view towards the east, southeast. The materials are, sandstone. We're going to do a cedar siding, weathered cedar siding, and it's called a VM zinc anthrazinc. It's a matte. It's a very matte charcoal, kind of charcoal black gray. It's got a very matte-like quality, and then steel doors and windows.
And the landscape plan, please, so Claire can take a look at it.
Yeah, so I think Sam, are you on? Sam from Terremoto, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Sam can walk you through the landscape. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. So as Danny mentioned, our kind of goal for this property was to take out things that weren't working. There's a lot of kind of water hungry plants on the site, which we feel isn't climatically appropriate. So we really wanted to bring the site back to kind of a version of its former self with using mainly natives and kind of grading the site to reduce the amount of retaining walls that are needed. So to kind of take you up the top of the property, as Danny mentioned, one of our bigger moves is to close off that driveway so that we give the front entrance more of a pedestrian kind of design, so that it's not just a big driveway that's taking up all the space of impermeable hardscape, but it actually becomes this kind of loose gravel garden with native plants. There will be a little bit of grading on the hillside to the north of the property, as you can see. And the purpose of that is to get rid of the existing retaining walls so that we no longer need retaining in that area. So at the moment, it's at a 2-to-1 slope down towards the house and then down towards this gravel area. And then to the south of the house, we have these kind of 2 terraces. And the first terrace is a gravel, you kind of step down to a gravel landing. There'll be a fire pit with a built-in seat wall in this area, which then flows down with timber staircase down to a second terrace, And this terrace has the pool, pool deck, a pergola which is attached to the ADU. And yeah, so yeah, it's kind of making 2 levels rather than, I think it had 3 previously. Danny, I don't know if you want to talk to the driveway here as it pertains to the ADU or?
Yeah, I should mention that as part of the ADU that we met with fire and we have a approved plan. There's a service drive there it's not really a conforming drive, it's asphalt. And they asked that we just expand it a little bit at the bottom. They said they wouldn't be driving their trucks down. But because it's there, they asked that we make it, expand it a little bit, and make it so, like an ambulance or another type of emergency vehicle could use it. So that's included in the scope.
And then between that new guest driveway, we have steps going up to the ADU, and then native planting surrounding that. And then on top of the green roof, of course, we'll have some native plants as well with gravel.
Okay, I think we understand the project now.
All right, thank you very much.
I think that's it.
Let's go to questions of the board. Claire, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I was a couple of questions. And this relates to where the front, well, the one question is where's the front door and how, and where is guest parking? Now that you've taken away all that driveway, this is the guest parking. So if a guest now has to come down the stairs, and where's the front door?
Right, yeah, well, if you can see the arrow, it's right there. It kind of meanders on the gravel path.
Okay,
there.
so what you're saying is that guests are now going to park here and walk down these steps and then walk through this lovely proposed Japanese garden.
Yeah,
correct.
It's kind of
fine. That's all I need. That was my question, and you answered my. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Claire. Don Sharp, questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. John Watson, any questions?
The garden roof over there next to the pool, is there a guardrail there to keep people from falling off?
No, but there is a 42 inch like kind of step up to it between the house right there. Yeah. So, you would have to kind of go through landscape and climb up onto the roof. I mean, you could do it, but it does meet code without a railing. So we're not intending to.
Is that it, John?
Yeah, I'd love to see that code provision, but anyway, that's all I have.
Okay, thanks. Don Sharp, questions? Oh, no, you said you had none, right?
Yes.
Tip, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
No questions. And my question is, as I looked at this site plan here, are these easements running through the property? What are these?
Yeah, there's water. The water district has some lines going through there, and
yeah. So that runs through, and you're not. I mean, is your new development going over the easements there? Are those abandoned or?
Yes, they are. I believe that one's abandoned, and it's up higher now. It's the higher one. I think that's an old one.
Oh, okay. All right. And here's your driveway that's existing.
That's correct.
Yeah, so you have lots of land between the property edge and everything, other than at the front here.
Yeah, 5 acres.
It feels as if there are no neighbors. I mean, there's not a visual connection to the adjacent neighbors. So
that was all I had for questions. Let's go to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this item number 2?
Bill, I don't have anybody's hand up. Don't see it, and I didn't receive anything.
Okay, so 2303 Bella Vista, no public comment. We'll close public comment, and we'll go to board members' comments. John Watson, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's an extremely nice project, and I know it's a big project, but I'm wondering if the other members of the board feel that this could come back preliminary and final on consent, particularly considering that we have a full agenda for the next 12 weeks or so, I think it is. So anyway, I just would like to ask other members what they think about that.
I mean, I think I'm okay with the idea that, Claire, if you're fine with the direction the landscaping is going,
Well,
you know.
Yeah, well, let's just take everybody's comments before we start making proposals, okay? I mean, I would rather just go, go through and hear what everybody has to say before we start jumping into what we're going to do with it in the future.
Okay.
I think it's a great project.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Claire.
And that's very much my feeling too. I think this is a really great project. And I really appreciate that what the landscape, or not the landscape architect, but the architect Danny has done, as we were on another site visit where he's proposing to take away all this paving. And as everybody in the world knows, this is my pet peeve in life, is paving over Montecito. And I think that this project is really, really a lovely, lovely project. And I would agree to moving it forward sooner than later.
Thank you.
Don Sharp, what are your comments?
Well, I could add another really beautiful or something, but I agree with John and Claire. This should go on as rapidly as possible.
Okay. Tip, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely an approval project, and I don't have any further comments or questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And I too agree with John's thoughts. I'd be okay with it coming back for preliminary and final on consent if everyone else is okay with that. Based on what we're seeing, obviously we're all feeling pretty comfortable with it. So does everyone agree with that idea? Having them come back for preliminary and final on consent?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do you matter?
What's that?
We don't have a planner yet, but we should have one anytime. We've been waiting for a while now.
Okay.
Okay, well, you know what we're asking for. So if we can do that, Kimberly, is that okay, even though they don't have a planner?
Yeah, sure. The planner will have to review and notice before it gets back on an agenda, but that's just fine.
Yeah, okay. And have them heads up on the easements too. Just, you want to probably define that, Danny, that they're abandoned easements.
Yeah. Will do.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. All right, thank you. Let's
Nice
go.
project, Danny.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
on to item number 3.
Yes.
This one is.
Sorry, you have to hear me again.
You guys.
Right, no, this is Danny's day, hey!
Okay, so we had some minutes on that. Let's read that real quick. Site visit story polls, which we did see. This project well cited and designed. This one's at 2080 Creekside Road. Go ahead, Danny, if you want to.
Hey, yeah, so this is as you know, you've seen the project and did your site visit today to see the story polls, and we're within the gated community of Montecito Valley Ranch at the north end, the most northern developed lot is what we're proposing at this point. And we have a unique to these lots is a development envelope that was defined when the lot was developed. So we're working within that. Another element that's a big part of this project is the remediation of a landslide that has been existing on the site for quite some time, and which is there's a chunk there, and you'll see it in the grading plan. So that's the large quantity of grading that you see is mostly taking that landslide and building it back up in an engineered way, and then the amount of that landslide that's left over is then distributed within the envelope to accommodate the proposed development in such a way that we are not having any import or export as a result of the remediation work. So it was challenging, but I actually think the grading is an improvement and kind of lifts and tucks the development into the hillside, kind of buffers it from the private road there and the walk and the path. So again, we've attempted to stack the taller development against the hillside to the east, kind of in a linear form, and break off with some gables to the west to give it some character. But I think for what we have to work with, our FARs for this site are well above what the Montecito FAR table would recommend, because we're restricted by the a lot development. It has a much more stringent requirement. It consists of the pool house, pool, main residence with a small 2-story portion. And again, we are showing the ADU just in the middle there for you to see the big picture. We were asked to kind of remove it from our plans from planning, but just to give you that image of how it would all fit in. And you can see it there in the left too, in the upper left. Yeah, just we feel that kind of charming, smaller scale character closer to the street is actually benefits the project rather than kind of having it exposed to the motor court. So we've tucked the motor court back behind these 2 small scale structures, which you'll see on the site plan. Yeah, so the motor court's there. We've done a lot to try and minimize the hardscape and make more of the surfaces impermeable. I think the motor court will be permeable. The pathway between the pool and the house is permeable. The fire department does want to turn around at the north end because it's the end of the road, and they approved it on site, and we met again this week because the fire marshal wasn't there. Assistant marshal told us to do this hammerhead, but we ended up you haven't seen it. It was a new development, but it's a 54 foot diameter bulb style turnaround, which really it's almost like a D shape. It kind of just fills in that hammerhead a little bit. So it's not much. It doesn't go anywhere to the west. It goes out as far as the end of the hammerhead and kind of is like a D. Yeah, exactly. So that you're not seeing, but it's a little bit of an update to what they had previously required of us. So no changes since last time, other than I guess trying to make sure we graded the site in a way that we could keep more of the, we had a bit of export previously, and we were able to since then accommodate that and keep it on site, which planning has asked us to do.
Anything to look at on your landscape? Do you want to?
Yes, Scott Menzel is online here, and so it'd be a good time.
Grading there, I suppose.
Yeah, there really isn't any change to the plan that you saw at the last conceptual hearing. In addition to this plan, we have included a preliminary landscape lighting plan, and I know conceptual is pretty early to look at that, but our planner had request landscape lighting, so we have that, and some preliminary water calculations as well. And it's maybe worth noting that in order to satisfy the allotment that Montecito Water provides, we're really going to have to pare down the landscape area that we're showing. So there's a lot of green on the plan that will be reduced a bit in order to get our water usage within the allotment. On the landscape lighting plan, I think someone was highlighting a fixture which looks like an uplight fixture. That fixture is actually going to be pointed downward. It is typically a wall wash fixture, but I put it on a stem and aim it downward. And I'm using that fixture wherever I have stairs that I want to illuminate, where I don't have a sidewall to put a step light fixture into. Yeah, so that example there in the entry walkway, you will see I have step lights at the ends of walls to illuminate some steps. And then in the next set of stairs, I'm using that directional downlight fixture to illuminate the steps. All other fixture symbols on here, the circle with the plus sign through them is your typical hooded path light.
Say that again?
That the fixture with the circle with the plus sign through it is your typical hooded path light with a 12 or an 18-inch tall stem. I think it's on the very last page of my cut sheets.
I was going to say, do we have here we are. Okay.
Not this one here.
Not that one. So I'm at this point, I have two options for that downward directional step light. Yeah, fixture C is the path light.
So this is the second option. These are the two options here.
Yeah, I've provided two options for cost purposes. And what I've actually used this option 2 on a number of projects before. I will put some notations on there that it is not an uplight.
This one, option 1, couldn't be an uplight, could it?
It could be.
It can be. That
it's
fixture
not
it can be pointed. It can be swiveled and pointed up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, does that conclude everything?
That does.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's go to questions of the board. Claire, did you have any questions about anything? Since I'm sitting on the landscape here.
No, I don't. No, I don't have any questions. Has been what's around what's been shown. I have questions when we get to comments about the landscape, but no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right. Don Sharp, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Questions. Tip, any questions?
No, I believe I asked all the questions at the site already. Thank you.
Okay. And John Watson, any questions?
I do. All about grading and all about that hillside. Actually not grading, about landscaping. When I was on the site, we have observed a decent amount of, I guess, native grasses. I guess they're native. And I assume that the hillsides on the properties to the north and south are going to have brown hill. Would you concur with that assessment of mine? Or do you have another comment about that, please? Scott?
Yes, at least to the north, I imagine we'll have that same condition. I know to the south, that property is being developed, and it's my understanding that Sam Maphis is the landscape architect for that project. And I haven't seen any landscape plans for that property, so I don't know what they intend to do on their slope.
And what do you intend to do on your slope, please, since there's so much grading?
Yeah, so this is a really tricky thing because when we submitted plans and calculations to Montecito Water, we were over the allotment they provided, and I was planning on planting and irrigating a portion of that hillside, at least the portion that was going to be graded. We were very far over, even with using 100% low water use plants. So the only way I could trim the water down was to reduce our landscape area. So in order to obtain our can and will serve letter from Montecito Water, I eliminated irrigation on that slope. So what we're planning on doing now is an erosion control hydro seed. Nothing that would require permanent irrigation.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Did I get everybody? Don, did you have any questions?
None, thank you.
Okay. And I do not have any questions either. So let's open this up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this item number 3, 20803?
Nobody here.
Okay, thank you. Let's close public comment. Let's go to board members' comments. Tip, what are your thoughts on this project?
I'm obviously was concerned with the amount of grading to the hill, but I do understand that it had to do with the landslide issues, and it has nothing to do with anything. And the applicant and the owner got stuck with that problem, and we're just trying to fix it. So other than that, I think the house is fine. It's not that visible or big when you see on site, maybe because the hill is so looming in the background, so you don't see much of the house. And it's way in the back, and it's completely private, secluded at the end. So I really don't have any issue with the project. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Don Sharp, what are your comments?
Well, I did make it to the site visit a little late, obviously, and I concur with Chip. I think that it's a problem lot that's tough solution required, and they've done a good job, all things considered. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Don. Claire, your comments?
Yes, I think the restriction that was put on this property with this development envelope has, is pushing some of our concerns. The fact is that the house has to be within that, and then this remediation, that's out of our purview. And so for me, I think the project, I really like the project. I think it's well designed, and this slide and everything is outside of our purview. And the only thing that I would ask is that when the applicant come back, that you have a landscape plan that is the one you want to use. Because what you just said in your presentation is, well, this is what we plan to be able to use more water now. So I want to know what adjustments are going to be made on the landscape plan before I'm willing to approve the I just want to see what you are proposing with the landscape plan. Because the one we have on the screen right now is not the landscape plan that you are going to be using. So, given your water concerns now, so.
All right, thank you, Claire. John Watson, what are your comments?
Well, no one, I don't think, has addressed the architecture. I think that it's, again, a very nice house. And, I think it's just ready to move as far and as fast as you can go. This project, at the end of the day, from a review point of view, is landscape, landscape, landscape. And I think we should move this on to preliminary, but I concur 100% with Claire. I think that we need to get everything really fully disclosed about this landscape plan at the next meeting. This is a very, very tough project, given what the cards that nature has dealt to this site. So that's the end of my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, John. Yeah, I agree. I think the building looks great, nice architecture. I think it's well cited. Obviously, you're dealing with, and I appreciate you trying to make the slide work that you're dealing with, trying to make it feel as natural as it would have been most likely before the slide. I know that's a difficult thing because who knows what that was, but I appreciate you at least undulating it and not making it look so structured and doing the best you can. And that being said, I agree. I think the landscape is important. And so do we have them come, we give them, have them come back for preliminary and final to the full board, or would you prefer?
I think this project should just, well, for me, I think it should come back definitely for preliminary to the full board with final on consent if you want to go that direction.
And I concur. I think this landscaping, Scott has his work cut out for him here, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and this is a land plat, this would be Kimberly. Kimberly, when you've got a development envelope, are you allowed to landscape outside of that?
Mr. Chair, it depends on how the development envelope was written. There's a lot of variation on how these conditions and these building envelopes get placed. So we would have to go back to the staff report of the map or the zoning permit that approved or established the building envelope. Sometimes it's simply about development, structural development. Sometimes it's everything, including all grading and driveways. And I just don't know on this particular project. The planner will know and have a better feel for that.
We did talk about that, and Jennifer Siemens did mention that apparently there was a allowance in there for grading outside the envelope, but we'll verify that. Planner should verify it. So
Yeah.
And then
Go ahead.
And then, Mr. Chair, when you're done with everything else, there was one other question I wanted to go back to the lighting plan.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Claire. Why don't you?
So can we just pull up the lighting plan? There are a number of what proposed pathway lighting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do we need so much lighting right around that parking area?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, so those are, I believe, 2-watt path light fixtures that are 15 feet apart. And the purpose of those is that there will be a future ADU just to the left of the workshop. So I'm giving an illuminated path of travel between the house, the ADU, the workshop, and the garage.
Okay, thank you.
You will have building lighting as well, I would imagine, on the structures themselves.
Well, yeah, but that's not within our purview. That's the building department's requirements to have, that's why we always do with landscape lighting.
Well, my point is that you're going to have additional lighting from the building, and maybe there aren't the need for so many. But anyway, think about that. So why don't you come back preliminary to full board, and if you got everything, then we'll move you forward.
I just wanted to remind the board that we won't be back for a while because a portion of this project is in the appeals jurisdiction that we have to go to the planning commission, and then we can come back for preliminary after that.
Oh, I might be back by then. Thanks.
Okay. Kimberly. The planning commission has a right, as I understand it, to overrule public works on things. We had that project off of San Ysidro Road where we were going to have the fire department, it was going to get appealed to the fire department maybe. And it was brought up that the planning commission could overrule the minimum requirements of the fire department, correct?
I do not know the answer to that question. I would defer to county council.
Okay, and so my question is, if they have the right to overrule a community service district called the fire department? Do they have the right to overrule a community service district called the Montecito Water District? And can we get sufficient water on this hillside, at least for a while, to get something that's going to cause us not to have a future land movement because it doesn't have sufficient roots in it? Would you please explore that with the planner, county council, whatever?
I will. I think my gut level reaction is that the Montecito Water District is not a board appointed board, and therefore it's outside of the Board of Supervisors of the county's jurisdiction. But of course, we'll confirm that with county council.
Yeah, please do that, because the fire district is not appointed by the board either. Montecito, I don't think. I think county is, but I don't think Montecito is. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Let's go
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you. Let's go to item 4, 1355 Danielson. Here for concept review. Is the applicant online?
Yes, this is Paul Ashley. I'm the architect.
Okay.
Do you guys hear me? I just unmuted.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay,
great. Go ahead.
I see you've got the drawings queued up.
Yes.
We came in, a year ago, we were under MBAR review for a different project on the same site, and it had a package of photos. Does the committee recall the existing building, or do we want to briefly review those photos of the existing building to refresh you?
I think we're okay. I can always go to Google Earth. Does everybody remember this property on Danielson?
Yeah, it was the garage. It was a garage thing.
We were proposing a freestanding garage with ADU on top.
Yeah.
After we worked on this project for a few months and then we changed planners midstream, that's when we were told that the garage was not required in the coastal zone. So that really changed our thinking on the project. Half the reason we were doing the garage with ADU on top is because we thought, the garage was going to be a requirement for the 2 units. But seeing as the garage is not required and we have 4 on-site parking spaces, that was no longer a priority. So now the priority for the design, yeah, there we are, right there. That's the existing residence. And boy, that's really, you can see the house is set quite far back from the street. And it's a flag lot in the back. There we are. There's our street view. No, it's on the right. Yeah. A and B mailboxes. That's the 2 residences on the property. And you see past those trees, the white picket fence there with the parking. That's the neighbors. That's the neighbors.
No, that's you.
No, that's the neighbors.
Yeah, that's the neighbors right in front of you.
That's the neighbors right there. This is them.
With the red car, that's our parking. With the house behind peeking through the trees. That house.
That's it.
So that's what you'll see when we look at the elevations in more detail, obviously.
There's a driveway going right from those arrows straight back.
That's correct. That driveway is the rear flag lot.
There it is.
Yeah, that's the rear lot. That's their driveway exclusively. And for the front lot, we go to the left of the mailboxes there primarily and park there. Okay. And we park in front of that white picket fence. So that's more or less the street view. You really can't see this house from the street until you go around those bushes and the oak tree. Okay, there we are. Yeah, you see all those bushes at the front. So you go behind the oak tree, there's gravel parking and the fence and then the little garden, and we're back at the house. So this house is 2-story. It's a 1-bedroom on each floor, duplex. And there's, wait a minute. No, these aren't the updated plans. What are we looking at here?
Well, these are the plans.
No. These plans were submitted in December. I gave Veronica brand new plans 2 weeks ago, which she was forwarding to the committee. So these aren't the plans. What happened?
Are these not the existing? This the existing floor plan?
That is the existing. What I'm saying is this was a preliminary design that was sent to Veronica, and then she was sent. Is Veronica or our planner in attendance?
Says plans conceptual.
That's what.
11, 18. Yeah.
Is there anyone from planning in attendance?
No, she may not be.
This is not what you're proposing to do?
Well, it is exactly what we're proposing to do, but it's with no notes, no elevations, no details, no rendering. That was the conceptual elevations, and then I sent her the detailed ones, which she said have been forwarded to MBAR.
Oh, well,
So I don't know what happened.
this is all.
Well, but the question becomes, the plans that we have in front of you, those are those or that are on the thing, are these the plans of the proposed project or not?
I've made many adjustments to the interior floor plan, but if we go to the elevation.
It doesn't matter. MBAR doesn't deal with inside.
I understand. If we go to the elevations, I can probably talk you through it. It's just frustrating to me that I spent 3 weeks developing the design of this and we're not looking at it, but let's look at the elevations.
Well, then do you want us to take you off the agenda and you can come back?
No, not in any way, shape, or form are we going to delay this.
Let's move forward.
I'll just have to show you the elevations, and I'll show you what's missing and what's really on the elevations that we don't see here. Okay.
Yeah.
On the upper left is the proposed north elevation, and in very simple terms, all we're doing is building this building out about 13 or 14 feet, and that's where we're putting the 2 new bedrooms in, one bedroom suites in, one on each floor. So we're moving out the windows, the 3 windows you see there on the top floor in the proposed, no, stay up at the top. Those 3 windows, that gable form is coming out with the exact same gable details and overhanging fascia. The exact same windows are being moved out. The exact same 2 windows on the first floor are being moved out. The doors on the lower right are being moved out. What you don't see there is the access stairs that go up to the deck, which are in front of that. And I've already talked to the structural engineer. We're moving those stairs out and we're using them as well. So when you look at this building from the parking area, you're going to see the exact same facade down to every detail of wood and trim and color. It's just been moved out forward. That wall that we're looking at now becomes an interior wall of the bedroom without those windows. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then when you look down just below that proposed west elevation, yeah, that hatched area there, that's what we built out. So we're continuing the handrail of the deck. We're continuing the French doors below. And then up above, I'm not showing that French door. I actually have 2 windows there because that's the head wall of the bed. And so that's changed a little bit on the development of the design. The south elevation isn't changing at all because we're not doing anything on the south of the building. And on the east, once again, we're adding about 13 feet or 14 feet of building out there. It doesn't look like that. I no longer have the large 2 windows on the right. I only have the small window there, which is in each bathroom. I took out the windows on the right because I'm doing linen and bathroom storage there. So these are very conceptual, but that's isn't what the building looks like. But
that's what we're here for. We're here for conceptual.
Okay, it's very conceptual, and so that's elevations, and this plan has some plans, and I've played with the interior plan, but that doesn't mean anything to you, and that's fine. The existing, you can see where it's added at the front.
Stay here.
Yeah. The first floor and the second floor, we're adding the deck on the second floor, and those were those stairs have moved out. And then the roof is just moving out, the same gable form moving out right there. Yeah.
I think we got it.
And
Bill,
I think
can you bring up the site plan?
Go back.
Yeah, it doesn't show the new addition.
Oh, it
No,
doesn't.
that's the topo. No, that's the topo. That's existing topography.
You have a,
Here.
here.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so when you see up above, that gable roof is being extended out, the new 2-story, and then the deck is over the 1-story, and it's a deck on the second floor. And where it says new staircase, that's really the existing stairs. We're just pushing them out. They'll work structurally according to calculations in current codes.
Okay.
And we're going to have to, that little garden there that's in front of the house, obviously we'll have to re-landscape that garden area for the building being pushed out into that garden. And that will be in our next go around with our landscape plans.
Great, thank you.
I apologize that we're not showing you the good stuff, but you get the concept.
Yeah, we get it.
Okay.
Let's go to questions. John Watson, did you have any questions?
I do. The last time you were here, we had chatted about bringing the parking down that driveway to the west and then pulling in.
Mm-hmm.
Have you considered bringing that concept into this set of plans?
No. The neighbors behind this property are adamantly 500% opposed to that intervention on their entry driveway, and we do not want to have neighborhood discord. And there's no way we're ever going to consider that with their opposition. We don't want to do that at all. We want to continue coming in the front.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We don't want to raise the dust.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. That's all I have.
John. Don Sharp, did you have any questions?
No, no questions. Thank you.
Tip, did you have any questions?
No questions.
And Claire, any questions?
Yeah, somebody can read the fine print enough to tell me what the, yeah, that's the number I want, Bill.
107.
Yeah, can you blow that up? What do you see there?
107.
107, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, and I had no questions. Let's go to public comment. Was there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this 1355 Danielson Road, item 4? Sharon? Anybody?
No, thank you, Bill.
Okay, great. We'll close public comment and go to comments from the board. Don Sharp, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's unfortunate that we can't find the correct drawings, but I understand it enough, and I think it's an acceptable project. Thank you.
Thank you. John Watson, what are your thoughts?
I want to know what the fire department thinks, and so please go and chat with them if they're okay with this.
We did.
Yeah, they've
May I make my comments, please? You've had your chance. Thank you. So I'd like to have them review this and stamp them, whatever they do. The second thing is, I think the landscape plan will be very critical to show how this clearly less intense project is going to sit on the property. And if they are adamant about coming off the street, I'd like to see how the landscaping at Danielson and the parking lot can be enhanced. I drove by there today. There is coverage, but I think that it could be improved, and I'd love to see them make a real attempt to hide that parking as much as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, John. Claire, your comments. Claire?
Yeah, I was just thinking, Bill. Well, for me, this is kind of, we had another project earlier today where there was a conversation about the development, the intensity of, and the impact to the semi-rural. And this new two-story, an extension of the existing building, I'm having a real problem with that because I don't have a real, see, I don't know where is all the parking going to go now? It can't go out in front. So I'm really having a struggle with this building, and I really need more information as to what you're proposing, as like, where is the parking going to go? Where's, how the landscape is going to operate? The fact how do you get in, how do you get, so the garage, you don't have a garage anymore. Is that correct?
There never was one. There isn't one existing, and no garage is required apparently for residential.
Correct. I understand the rules. I've been around a long time.
Me too.
So your proposal the last time was to come in and park in a garage, but that garage is now gone. So, and we did have a letter, a comment letter from the neighbor about the driveway and all of that. So for me, in order to really approve this project, I need more information. Yeah.
Understand, all the information you're looking for and all your questions you have are sitting right in front of me on the site plan I have on my screen, which was supposed to be on your screen, and my apologies, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have to show it to you on the next go around.
Sounds good. Tip, what are your comments?
I really don't have anything else to add to this. It's very difficult for me to read the drawing and to understand the project, but it's so minor that I really don't have anything more to add to the project. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Tip. Yeah, I'm gonna jump on to what Claire's saying, I think that, and it sounds like you have it ready to go. And what John's saying is that I think you just need to show how you want to develop this area now that is going to get impacted, obviously the stairway and how that all flows and how you work that whole front yard area and the landing, et cetera, et cetera. And I think what Claire is asking is, where are the existing trees? Where is the new planting? Where is the parking? We're going to look for that next go around. So if you can provide that, I think that'd be great. I don't have any problem with the structure itself, the additions. I mean, I would have probably, preferred to see a little more undulation in this face on the east side, but I'm okay with it because it's really pretty well hidden from any property. So anyway, that being said, we're going to continue you on. Let's see, you were here for concept review.
Mr. Chairman?
I guess you could come back for preliminary.
Yeah, I think he can come back for preliminary too. I think that what Claire implied, I'm not so sure she said it, was that required parking is not permitted to be in the front yard setback.
Yes.
So Kimberly, would you please have the planner, you, whomever, determine whether or not that's an existing non-conforming legal parking? They are not increasing the house area 50% or more, so they don't have to bring the parking up to code. But is that actually official parking up there? Please have that ready for us when we come back.
We've got all that thoroughly analyzed on my plan, and you'll see it the next go around where the new parking will lay out, and it's all outside of this setback. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's go on to item number 5. Kent Additions, that's 1570 East Valley Road. And is the applicant online? Tell us your name and give us your presentation. Oh, we have minutes. Let me read the minutes here first. 1570 East Valley Road, architecture acceptable, reduce amount of paving and hardscape, provide comparison of percentage of existing hardscape to percentage of proposed hardscape, consider redesign, protect retaining of existing oak trees. Several members felt that the site was overdeveloped, to re-examine FAR study to provide a better understanding of the neighborhood. Is that the right one? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, all right.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Adele Yamada. I was officially married to my childhood sweetheart, Willie Rosso, on December 26th, and I've returned to my maiden name, Adele Yamada. Following my presentation will be Stacy Fawcett, and she'll present the updated landscape designs. And I'd like to begin just with a quick overview of the project, because it has been several months since this project was before the board. And there was an error made in noticing, so the neighbors were re-noticed for this hearing. The first thing we're doing is we are constructing a 425 square foot trellis and an additional 160 square foot trellis. These were 2 trellises that existed on the property, and we were not able to find building permits for these. We had as-built photos and drawings for you. You reviewed them when we were here in November. I thank you for allowing us to move forward and securing the proper building permits and keeping the trellises. The landscape will include removal of the existing asphalt drive and replacement with a more permeable surface, a new entry walk and stairs, and replacement of an existing fountain. We have an addition of 162 net square feet to the main residence, and this addition was to connect 2 living spaces that were separated by the garage. Again, I thank the board for your positive comments about the architecture and allowing us to move forward on that addition. The main entrances to the property will be improved to allow for safer entry and exit to East Valley Road. So we're widening and broadening those curb cuts as they come onto East Valley, just to make it a little bit safer for the, for the residents and for the community. We're removing the existing spa and a fountain that exists in the rear of the main residence. There are currently 2 swimming pools on the property, and we are removing one of the swimming pools and removing a freestanding gazebo that exists almost like dead center in the middle of the property. We're proposing an open air dining pavilion of 496 square feet. We're removing an outdoor fireplace that we're not very comfortable with the design, but we'll be replacing it with a new fireplace, outdoor fireplace in the same location. The main swimming pool in the middle of the property will be renovated with the addition of an interior spa, an automatic pool cover, new pool coping, and we're changing the surrounding pool deck at the main pool. We're proposing a sunken tennis court. It's proposed and designed with drainage systems to capture rainwater and runoff for the recharge of groundwater on site. There's irrigation, planting, and landscape lighting that will be removed and upgraded to be more water efficient and energy efficient. So the first comment that they had from the meeting of November 4th, number 1 was the architecture was acceptable. Again, I want to thank the board for reviewing that, but if possible, I'd like to turn to page A5. I think it's sheet number 12. So on the November 4th meeting, Don Sharp mentioned that he'd like to see the chimney shaped to match the chimney at the main residence. So I want to say thank you, Don, because please notice we took your comment under consideration and we feel that it's really enhanced the project. We've added a little bit of slope or shape to those chimneys, and it definitely ties into the main residence more closely. And John Watson, I believe he mentioned that he would like to see if the size of the dining pavilion could be reduced. We originally started working with our clients with the maximum size of 800 square feet, and we were able to reduce the project down to 496 square feet. And that's the same square footage that was proposed and presented on November 4th. It's not uncommon for our client to have family gatherings or dinners for about 14 or 16 people. And I feel we've done our best to reduce the size of the structure. It's appropriate for the site and it still meets our clients' needs. So at this time, we have not made any changes to the size of the dining pavilion. But we have additional information for neighborhood compatibility, which I feel justifies the overage in the detached accessory buildings. If you can move to page 4. I added page 4 to our submittal. These are just these supporting documents that I hope will kind of answer some of the comments or concerns that were brought up in the November 4th meeting. Detail number 1, the assessor parcel information. It shows that the original house was constructed in 1920. And then detail number 2, the first planning approval was done in 1969. And at that time, the property had 2 separate entrances. Detail number 3, in May 2001, the Montecito Association approved the existing walls and gates at the 2 entrances. The 2 separate gate entries, they were approved by the zoning administrator on June 5th, 2001, under case number 01CP004 for a conditional use permit to allow 2-foot extensions on the 4-foot high gate posts and 2 8-foot high gates. A follow-on land use permit 01 LUP 00629 was issued on July 10th, 2001. And I just wanted to bring this up to the board because I remember Claire had commented that she was uncomfortable with the 2 entrances on the property, but I can assure the board that the 2 separate entrances historically existed and the existing walls and gates were reviewed and approved by the Montecito Association and the County of Santa Barbara. Number 4, we were asked to further study the FAR for the adjacent parcel known as the trees. So it was clear to us that the parcel exceeded the recommended FAR, but I was not able to present accurate information at the November hearing. So immediately following that hearing, I requested records from the assessor's office, and the data I received from the assessor's office has been put into the FAR worksheets for you in 2 different ways. Detail number 4 shows all the detached dwelling units to be counted as square footage under the first floor, and it brings the adjacent parcel FAR to 236%. And as you know, these FAR worksheets really aren't designed to do multiple homes, duplexes, and triplexes where there are 14 detached structures on a property. So number 5, it shows the largest residential structure was counted as first floor, and then the remaining square footages were put under DABs. And looking at it that way, the FAR for that method was 219%. Detail number 6, this is the updated neighborhood compatibility study to demonstrate that our proposed development is compatible with the immediate neighborhood and the surrounding area. There are parcels that exceed our net square footage, parcels that exceed our gross square footage, and parcels that exceed our FAR. Detail number 7 is the maximum applied water allowance. And this was approved by the Montecito Water District for our November 4th hearing. Detail number 8 is Montecito Water granted our CWSA for the conceptual landscape plans that you reviewed. And detail number 9 is the Montecito Fire Department met on site and approved the proposed site plan that you saw on November 4th. And they were very supportive of having the 2 different entrances. As you can see, with vehicles, the 2 engines parked in 2 different locations allows them to properly serve all of the development. And the reason I had this additional information was there were comments about the amount of hardscape that was presented in November. And as you are all well aware, like the amount of hardscape diminishes, the amount of planting and irrigation increases. And there's a fine balance between hardscape, softscape, and the maximum water usage that can be approved for the parcel. I want to thank the board again for their positive comments on the architecture. And I'd like to be able to turn this presentation over to Stacy Fawcett so she can show you our revised landscape plans and address the comments that the board had at our last November meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. I won't repeat, the summary that Adele gave, but I'll just jump right into the board's comments from the previous meeting and how we addressed those items. So one of the items was to clearly identify which trees on site were being removed and showing which trees would be new to the site. So we've done that with some diagrams. Also to reduce paving where possible. And we will I'll show you in a diagram, a clear diagram as to how that was done and the percentages of any changes from the previous to the proposed. The third comment was that there was a lot going on the site. So we took that to heart and made a good attempt, I believe, at reducing the development on the site. As Adele mentioned, there's a balance between having, softscape, landscape, and irrigation, because we're always trying to meet the water requirements and all. So also about screening and addressing the screening issues, making sure that the neighbors' concerns about screening are the same as our clients, actually, to make sure that there's proper screening. And I want to point out too that none of this is visible from the street at all. It's all set back from the street on East Valley Road, and it's screened quite well. So there's also a lot of deferred maintenance on the site. So fallen trees, dead trees, things that need to be pruned, hedges that need to be reduced. So we're going to be addressing that as well. So let's start with the very first page, I think, Bill.
Next one up.
Photos? Or do you-
Oh, the site photos. So you can kind of see by the site photos, the top row is the front of the property. You can see the gates coming into the property, which we're proposing to simplify those gates and then refinish them. There's a lot of asphalt existing, which we're proposing to remove quite a bit of that asphalt, some of which goes right up to the front of the house. The architecture is quite nice, so it doesn't really do it justice to have a driveway right smack dab at the front door. It's also, you know, impacting oak trees. So I think removing some of that asphalt and creating a little more of a gracious landscaped entry is beneficial. And then panning out a little bit, let's go down to, yeah, photo I right there shows there's a lot of, there's a whole bunch of hedges and random paving. You can see on photo M down below, a lot of hardscape. We're going to be removing that hardscape and minimizing some of the busyness that goes on site. Photo O is the small pool that Adele mentioned, which is coming out. So that will become landscape area as well. Yeah, so we can go to the next page down if you want. You can skip, that's existing condition survey.
We
Skip
don't
to
need
the
that.
next one down, there we go. So you can see at the front entrance, we're proposing expanding the driveway apron so it's a little safer to get in and out of the property. The motor court that you see will become the gravel chip seal, which is a little more permeable than the asphalt and has a little bit of a softer feel. The two driveway entrances, the one on the lower part of the page accesses the garages. So this would be primarily just the owner's entrance, whereas the other entrance would allow for guests and anybody else coming onto the property. We listened to the comments and originally we had these two driveways connected. And so we disconnected them and created more garden space. You see that kind of a gravel pathway connecting the two. And the gravel is considered a permeable paving, so that's beneficial to the landscape. Any of the pathways that you see, other than the one to the front door, are gravel permeable pathways. Let's skip to the next page. So in the back, our clients are interested in simplifying the landscape. Adele talked about the open air structure off of the main pool. We did beyond that structure to the top of the page. Originally there was a bocce court and some other things going on. And so we have recaptured that as garden landscape space. And then the darker colored trees are oak trees. So this becomes kind of a natural oak grove area to mitigate for any oaks that are being removed on the property. There's a proposed sunken tennis court to help minimize any visual impact. We're hoping that with the design of the civil engineer that we can capture rainwater, and we're figuring out to get that back into dry wells to recharge groundwater. There's an existing guest house, and then you can see, right, and then between the guest house and the tennis court is that covered pergola area. And then the pathways accessing different parts of the property are gravel. The lawn area is the only lawn area on the property in the center there. And that's where the swimming pool used to be. So now we're going from impermeable to permeable in that area. You go down to the next page. So this diagram helps you see what the different types of elements are on the property. So the green indicates landscape planting. The blue indicates a building structure. The red is a hardscape non-permeable, and then the yellow is permeable, such as gravel or mulch. And the total.
This is existing.
This is
Let's see.
existing.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen all the existing. Let's keep moving on to what's being proposed, not.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
The next one.
this is the second time we've reviewed this project, and I don't think we need to go backwards to, you know.
Well, you haven't seen these diagrams, so I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that this will assist you in understanding. So now this is the proposed. Again, the blue is the structures, red is non-permeable paving, yellow is permeable paving such as gravel or mulch, and green is softscape or planting. And on the right-hand column, you can see the percent of change from existing to new. The building structure increased 1.3%. The non-permeable hardscape increased 1.35%. The permeable gravel mulch, which is beneficial, increased 5.08%. And then the softscape, which is the total of the ones above, reduced 7.75%. So the increase in hardscape, we're kind of rearranging where it is. So I think that helps you understand with these new changes that we've made that the increase of hardscape is quite minimal. If you go down to the next page, you can zoom in a little bit on that. So the red circles indicate trees that would be removed, and those are oak trees. We have an arborist report about those. One of them has fallen over. A few of them are okay. Anyway, and then the green indicate the existing oak trees that are protected. So if you go down to the next page.
And the blue symbols are what?
The blue symbols are plants and things that will come out. Either they're dead or, you know, other elements that will be removed. Some of them are shrubs, but those are elements that are coming out. These are images of those particular oak trees. The pictures on the page above are images of those particular oak trees. So this page indicates the existing oak trees in green. The proposed oak trees are the bright blue. You can see those on the property. And then the purple indicates the new trees that would be planted on site as well. So you can see there's quite a bit of revegetation going on the property. We go down to the next page.
That's it. That's all I have.
Oh, there was an arborist report, but and then the stamped approved fire department plan Adele had in her packet. So oh, there you go.
Report there, yeah.
There
Okay,
you go.
so
And there's also an exterior, yeah, zoom in on that. That's the exterior color board, that small sheet. Yeah, that one.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you for the presentation. Let's go to questions of the board. Claire, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to know, I get the oak trees, but what species are you using for all those infill trees that on your landscape plan? If you go back, yeah. So I got the blue, I got the one that's blue, but all of these new trees, what species are those? Especially the ones that are going surrounding the new tennis court.
Since we're in conceptual, I haven't really gotten into a planting plan just yet. But you know, native drought tolerant type plants that are going to thrive, create nice screen on the perimeters, obviously.
So you're saying that you as the designer have not determined what trees those purple square round things are going to be? You don't know
I
what
have an
those are?
idea. I mean, we're thinking of, for example, evergreen pears next to the tennis court there's a lot of pittosporum on site. Podocarpus would be a nice screen tree along that perimeter of the tennis court, which would create a year-round nice solid hedge. I've actually met with one of the neighbors, and we're on the same page as far as wanting screening and buffer between properties.
Well, and on this plan, you show that there's a hedge that goes all the way around. That's why I keep asking about, besides the hedge that screens the
Right.
You're saying that you're also, in this plan, you're going to be planting a lot of trees other than the mitigation oak trees. So that's why I'm asking. So you don't know what these are going to be yet.
Well, the ones that I mentioned are good candidates. We've got Podocarpus, Prunus lioni, around the front of the house. That might be Magnolia Little Gems, scale wise, evergreen pears at the, small courtyard. It's going to be a variety of different trees that are appropriate for the different parts of the property.
Okay, well, we're still in conceptual, so I guess we'll see that later.
Thank you, Clara. Don Sharp, do you have any questions?
Yes, the tennis court, how far down will it be depressed? And how do you drain it without having some slope to the pad itself?
So it would be
make it viable.
It's sunken 3 feet, and there is enough fall to get from the tennis court to a dry well at the front of the property and also midway. So we're working with Joey Tosca on designing a rainwater reclamation type situation.
Why is it being depressed? Other than out of the neighbor's view, I guess.
Well, it wouldn't affect the neighbor's view, but mostly to, just kind of minimize the impact of it, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
On the site.
All right. Thank you, Don. John Watson, did you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Tip, questions?
Oh, I do not. Thank you.
And the only question I had was, where is the setback in the front here? Is it up in here somewhere, or are you outside of the setback with your?
Yeah, the parking is outside of the setback.
Okay, and
it's a 50-foot setback from the center line of East Valley Road.
Okay, so that clears that. And then the other question is, do you have a number of cars you're trying to? The fire department isn't requiring a certain turnaround dimension in here, are they?
Well, they typically like a certain turnaround radius.
But are they?
And that's the purpose of that size.
Are they pulling in there actually?
Yes.
They would pull in there to service and to get all the way back to the back side of the house. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was my only question. All right. We have some letters. So we're going to read those. And actually, let's ask Sharon. Sharon, are there anybody, are these folks in the audience?
2 people. I have Holly, Sherwin has her hand up right now, and I know she had submitted a letter.
Yeah, let's go to that. So I won't read her. She can
Right.
talk.
I'll ask her to unmute herself and join us.
Okay.
Hi, Holly. Are you there? Yeah.
We're good?
Yes. Hello, Holly. Go ahead. We're recording you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Holly Sherwin, as you know, and I am the neighbor behind and actually also to the side of this property. My husband and I and my son live at 555 Periwinkle Lane. And so our side yard is their backyard. And then we also own the gravel lane, which is their side yard. We've been here since 2000, well, not at this house since 2016 and in Montecito since 2004. And I am really concerned about the tennis court, actually very saddened. I was here at the November 4th meeting and I didn't think it was even going to be on the docket, but seeing that it was there, I should have spoke up, but I didn't. But I did write a letter. And I did, thank you, Stacy. I did meet with Stacy afterwards. And of course, I've spoke with Skylar, the property owner, as well. And the reason is, 60 feet by 120 feet of paved tennis court, that's a lot of hardscape. And I know you're saying that you're mitigating some of this, but looking at this already, what I think is overdeveloped property, and you've already talked about that too, bringing up the FAR and that it exceeds the recommendations. I just don't see that this is really a balance at all to add this huge tennis court and a sunken tennis court. I mean, that's a lot of cubic yards of cut to be removed, and the damage to the trees, any trees, big trees in the proximity of having all that cut are going to be impacted. As you know, big trees have big root zones, and there are big trees on their property and on adjoining properties that will be impacted. So it bothers me to see this going on, especially because it really doesn't fit with the semi-rural that I think Montecito is trying to achieve. Anyway, I love what they're doing with the buildings and the pavilion and all that stuff is great. The garage, that's all fine. But I just don't see this tennis court as being, I just think it's incomprehensible that they would put something so massively hardscaped in the very little bit of backyard that they have that hasn't been already impacted and built on. I mean, it really is only an 1.5 acre property and there's an awful lot going on. Back in November, I did submit photos of the property. I don't know if you got to see them, but from our second story windows and the kitchen door that illustrate the proximity of our house to the property line and how the removal of these big trees near that fence line will have us look, there they are, will have us looking down, right into that backyard. And the tennis court will be about 8 to 10 feet from the fence. And as you can see, the fence is very close to our house. I wish that our driveway wasn't there, otherwise I could plant some trees, but our driveway borders that fence and 8 feet on the other side of that fence will be the tennis court. So I just figured there should be a lot more space and a bigger property to be able to, to justify putting a tennis court. There's huge trees on that property, giant, as you can see there. These trees are 5 stories tall. Some of the pits are big, but then behind them are eugenias and other trees that are really, really large. And so I just don't see how building this court and digging all that landscape out, that's from our second story. And those are those big trees we look across at, that'll be all removed. Some of the properties on El Bosque, I think that Amber may have written a letter to you. Those properties are really tiny and really close to the fence as well. And some of them are actually raised up, so they're really looking down onto that property. And I know that any trees that they have, big oaks, and there are a few that are right on the other side of the property fence, are going to be impacted by this digging and bulldozing and, removing permeable soil.
Is this your property here, Holly, right here?
Oh gosh.
This is the tennis court side right here. In here, is
wow.
that you there?
Where's
No,
East Valley?
it's the one to the right of the existing pools.
Over here.
Yes.
It's over here.
Okay, you're not there yet. Go a little bit to the right. It's got gray roofs, gray. You can see our driveway.
Oh, this here.
Yes, and then our backyard looks like it's, yeah, that's our house. And then our driveway is light gray.
Got it.
And then right next to our driveway is their property. And so what will be removed is right there next to the light gray and those big trees. And they are huge.
Okay.
They're big trees.
All right, thank you for your.
But no, I just want to say that, my main concern is just removing over half of these mature oaks too, 4 mature oaks. And even though the one is, I know they say it's fallen over, it's not really falling. it's just an interesting tree with a lot of character. And I do know that the arborist did say they were in good shape. So I'm just confused as to why it would be okay to pull out half of the existing oaks on the property, for this tennis court. So it's not just privacy I'm worried about, it's really the health of the soil, it's water recharging, it's the heat that something like this creates over time, big black surfaces, the heat effect that'll cause. I just don't think that it's a smart or wise or being a good steward of this property at all. And so it does break my heart to think that that might actually happen, because it really will impact not just our property, other properties, but I think the future of this property.
All right, thank you. Helen.
Thank you. Let's go on to the next.
Yeah.
Do we have other letters, Phil?
Yeah, we have one from Chubb. Sharon, is there anybody here to talk
So
about?
I have Lee Appleton.
Lee Appleton. Okay, go ahead, Lee.
Wrote a letter as well,
Oh,
but her hand isn't up.
I don't see that letter in here. These are the only two I've got.
Well, hold the screen so I can read. Okay, there we go.
Oh no, they're not in there, Bill?
I only see this this Chubb and the
Here's other letters.
Sherwin.
And I want to note there was one from Anderson that was actually referring to the project before us also.
Oh yeah.
It ended up in our folder somehow.
Okay.
These did get out of sequence. No, I
Yeah,
think
Daniel's.
Yeah, these are the only two that I have.
So can you talk about something, and then I'm going to send you some?
Yeah, okay. So anyway, this similar comments, proposing to move 5 trees in good condition. It's not big enough to be able to scatter even a few box replacements and still have well watered. So again, not in support, being a neighbor. I'll let you all have read that. And so let us go. So we have no other public comment. Sharon's going to send me those. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead to comments from the board. Tip, what are your thoughts on this project?
Well, I really don't have much issue with the project, how we're planning. I'm just really have a concern with the tennis court. Overall, I'm not against tennis courts. I think they are fine, but I think on the site is not that big. Putting a tennis court like that in the back with the noise created by the tennis court, I think that might be potentially be an issue for a lot of neighbors in the neighborhood. Not only that, you're losing a whole bunch of trees and the grading and everything else. So I'm not sure I really can support that.
All right, thank you, Tip. John Watson, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'd like to thank Adele for doing the FAR study, because I don't think it supports her project, even though I think she believes it does. When you go and take a look at that, it's way up on the top. And that the yellow down at the bottom, Bill, please.
Right, right, yeah.
Right
Expand that so we can see it, because
Okay, so when you add up the FARs and divide by the number of FARs, that number comes out to 110. Yes, there are some that are larger, and there are a lot that are smaller. So, and her FAR is 121 by her own admission. I got 122, but.
Oh, it's 219.
No, 219 is the neighbor.
No, that's the neighbor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Her FAR is 121. It was confusing, Adele, the way you presented it, because I thought it was that high also for a long time. So I know it's mostly there, but the question is there a point at which it's too big? And this is a big house with a tall roof It's been around a long time with a driveway that's right along the property line. It's got 2 driveway entrances. We try to only have one. And when I spent probably close to 2 hours working on this project on my own prior to this meeting. We are presented these drawings for our review before the meetings. It was probably close to 2 hours, and I just cannot find a way to support it. I concur with Tip that I think that the tennis court is wrong, but I think you're just too aggressive on this development. I cannot support this. And so I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, John. Sharon, are you still there? Okay, she's still sending me stuff. Let's keep rolling on this. Don Sharp, your comments on this.
Well, my first objection is the tennis court. I think that it's totally out of place. The vegetation removed and sinking it down into the grade isn't going to be good for any of the existing trees and so forth. I do think the FAR is too high and there's just too much development proposed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Claire, your comments.
I agree with all the proper, and I'm going to be adamant about this. I will not, in any way, shape, or form, be talked into approving this project with the proposed tennis court. It's absolutely horrible, horrible. And the fact that we're actually, we've come up with the county has come up with a mitigation plan, but we're losing oak trees. And that's why I'm asking that, and the neighbors' comments pointed out exactly what I was pointing to, is what is going to replace all those trees? And I'm kind of in there. I can't support this project as proposed, period.
Yeah, all right, thank you, Claire. I am in agreement. I definitely, the tennis court is an impact, I think, to the site that is probably beyond what a site should feel. I think there's, and a good percentage of it obviously is because of the trees that are getting removed. And again, like Tip, I'm not opposed to tennis courts, but on this particular property with all the other things going on, it just seems like one more thing, and it just is a big impact on this property. And I don't think I can support that tennis court. I'm on the fence with the dining pavilion. I like the architecture. Certainly the addition to this is obviously not a problem, and the trellises are all good. The fact that you removed the pool is nice and great. And they did an effort to try and mitigate and reduce as much of the paving. I still have a little bit of problem with as much paving as is up here. It still feels like a massive area, and I know you've got the fire turnaround to deal with. It seems like that could still be reduced a little bit. I don't know, maybe you need to show where the fire turn is in there so I can see it.
It's actually in there. There's a light dashed line. If you zoom in. You
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're using a circle turn?
Yes.
Would a hammerhead have made it smaller?
Same difference. It's all,
Yeah.
that's the minimum for the fire department.
Yeah. So obviously I understand that. That's what the fire department needs. We got to let them do it. I'm a little unsure about the math there on the FARs. So that part, I see what I see. It looks like there's plenty of other properties there that are quite a bit larger, but not all of them. And as John said, I think he took an average of those and he ended up with 110, which is about the extent of what we normally allow. So is this little structure an impact? I mean, I'd be okay with the little structure if definitely the tennis court went away. So I think that's more of an impact than anything on this property. So that's my thoughts. Sharon, did you get those?
No, we're sent you an email. I have all those letters, so I'm going to go ahead and just read them off real quick.
Okay, perfect. That's even better.
So, to the MBAR, I write to register my objection to one particular aspect of the proposed Kent addition. Montecito has managed for the most part and through a lot of hard work by dedicated people to maintain its semi-rural character over the years. But 2022 is presenting a new challenge, you know, the overdevelopment. I'm going to get to the root of what he's saying. The aspect of the proposed addition to which I object is a vast increase in hardscape combined with the loss of mature oaks. While the county's oak mitigation policy is admirable and enforced, there will simply be no way to replace it like for like. They're proposing to remove 5 oaks, a majority characterized as in good condition by the arborist. The property isn't big enough to be able to scatter even the fewer box replacements suggested by the arborist and still have well-watered critical root zones, which can spread out past mature drip lines, not with the aggressive replacement of what looks like 20,000 square feet of good land with non-permeable surfaces. An impressively sunken 7,200 square foot tennis court, a bocce court, and a large chip seal parking area for vehicle turnaround and parking. The arborist site plan calls that area new gravel surface motor court, but it's specified as chip seal with gravel. Chip seal is an asphalt-bound road surface lauded by the PPRA, the Pavement Preservation and Recycling Alliance, an industry group for its resistance to water intrusion on its website. This is not a proposal for a semi-rural landscape as called for in the hard-won Montecito community plan. This is a fantasy land of play with parking that chokes off aquifer replenishment and kills mature oaks. Sincerely yours, Cotty Chubb. And then the Holly and Lanny Sherwin spoke to her letter.
Yeah.
And then I have Lee Appleton. I would like to share a comment about the Kent property proposal at 1570 East Valley Road. As a Montecito resident of 15 years, I'm quite familiar with the bordering neighborhood of a very special Moody Cottage properties. I'm concerned about the proposal's construction of a sunken tennis court. This will not only remove old oaks and other trees that provide a desirable buffer to the neighboring properties, but will add even more impermeable surface to a property that already has extensive covering by hardscapes. Our Southern California area has been suffering from terrible drought, and we should be doing all we can to allow the little rain we receive to return to the ground and aquifers below. With a tennis club just down the street and several well-appointed country clubs nearby, I wonder how essential the tennis court is. Many thanks for your consideration, Lee Appleton. I have one more. I would like to share a comment about the Kent property proposal at 1570 East Valley Road. As a Montecito resident of 3 years, I'm familiar with the surrounding neighborhood of Moody Cottage properties. I'm concerned about the proposal's construction of a sunken tennis court. This will remove old oaks and many other trees that provide a beautiful buffer to the neighboring properties. As I live on the other side of the fence where the proposed tennis courts are to be located, I'm very concerned about the noise level that will occur. Right now, the area is peaceful and quiet with the sound of birds. If there was a court there, then the sounds would be the people playing, the ball bouncing, plus the grunts and groans of the players themselves. With a club just down the street and several well-appointed country clubs nearby, I wonder how essential the tennis court is. Many thanks for your consideration, Amber Scudo.
All right. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
So you've heard from the neighbors, you've heard from the board. I would suggest making your
Coming
adjustment.
back.
Yeah. Further concept review.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, John.
they seem adamant with this, and I think that we need to find out about this, because if they're not interested, let them come back for preliminary. I would vote against this project and let them go and have a chat with the Planning Commission. If they don't want to do that, I think they need to make an important change. So if they come back for concept, are we wasting their time and ours? So I just you know, Sharon said we're filled for 14 weeks or something. They're not going to get back here for 2 or 3 months at least. So I don't want to waste any more of their time nor ours.
So, I mean, my thoughts, if they decide not to do the tennis court and not to fight it, come back with that proposal, they still have the FAR issue. I think maybe Tip and I are the only two at this point that might, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tip, that might even be okay with the extra pavilion. I think everybody else seems to be not okay with additional FAR development. So that would be 3-2 straw vote. So
with this board today.
This board today, right? Correct. Yeah. Now missing Dave, who knows? Could be a draw.
Mr. Chairman, can I recommend, rather than the full board making the determination of coming back for concept or coming back for preliminary, to have the planner consult with the chairman, whoever that, or chairwoman, whoever that might be, to determine what level of review to bring it back next time?
The chairperson.
I love that word.
Of the planning commission?
No, of you or Dave or somebody.
I got it.
Okay, because if they want to come back with this plan, I think we should put it on preliminary, and then we will see whether or not it passes. If they want to make significant alterations to it, then I think that they can come back maybe for concept to tighten it up. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know what to do. That's why I'm thinking the planner in consultation with the chairperson.
Yeah,
I would agree. I would agree with that, John, because the way it's always run is that actually it is after concept. It's the planner who decides whether to put it on for preliminary or make that call. And I'm of the opinion we should just recommend to the planner to put it on for preliminary, but that's what I think.
And then we could vote on it, and then they can decide to take it to the
Yeah.
if they want.
But it's up to the planner to decide whether it comes back for gets posted for preliminary.
So for preliminary, right? Well,
Mr. Chair, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
I heard the consent agenda thrown out there. What I'm believing that the intent is that the applicant and the owners want to proceed forward with this project as proposed in the tennis court. We would want to put them at the planner's discretion back on the consent agenda for preliminary, so action could be taken to either approve or deny at that point.
No, there's no way on earth I want to take this on the consent calendar.
Okay, so back the planner to decide what level of review on before the full board.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we'll do then. All right. Thank you. We're gonna go on to we're gonna skip 6. That was continue. We're gonna go on to item 7.
Bill?
Yes.
Before you start that, thank you, Stacy, for pointing out that the letter was put in the wrong place. I need to bring to your attention a letter that was for 1355 Danielson.
Oh.
And also send a copy to the applicant so they know.
Do you want me to read that, or do you want to read it?
Read it real quick.
What's that?
I'll read it. I've got it in my hand.
Okay, so we're going to go back to 13.
Yeah, it's just a letter that was actually for the 1355 Danielson.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, that's the one I read. That one. Right, that's the one I thought I was reading.
Oh, you read that one.
Did I?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so hello. In the previous MBAR review of garage ADU on this property, the MBAR requested that 1355 unit utilize an estimated 50 feet of the easement to the west of their property. However, it appears that only the first 21 and a half of the easement is designated to be shared. I've attached a few documents, and I will forward the documents to you. They're deeds. I don't know if you guys, I'll forward those deeds to you. I've attached a few documents that are relevant to the access easement. From what I gather, the prior owners of both parcels, the Roberts, prior owner of 1355 Danielson, and the Stewarts, prior owner of your property, were in a dispute that settled, resulting in the attached access easement and the maintenance agreement, as well as a separate exclusive yard easement agreement to the 1355 parcel, where it appears they gained exclusive access to a small portion of the 1357 property for yard purposes. A few things to note that may help here. The easement is approximately 14.34 feet wide with at least 13 feet to be paved. Any structure will need to be outside of this 14.34 foot strip. In addition, only the first 21.5 feet of the access driveway are to be shared, and the remainder is for the exclusive use of 1357 property. During this, I'd just like the MBAR to take into this consideration. Thank you, Scott Anderson. I'll forward those to you guys as soon as the meeting's over.
Might be more of a planner issue than anything.
Yeah, it's a lot of,
And I
but
think I think it has to do with this access easement, which may be moot point anyway, so.
Mr. Chairman, what we want to do is to ask the planner to require that the applicant place the information on a drawing that will be presented to us next time.
Okay.
Can
Thanks,
you add
John.
that to the minutes there, Kimberly, for that? Is that possible?
I can add it to the minutes. Can you repeat what you're looking for with relationship to the easement?
That the applicant should plot all of that easement or easements, however it works out, on his site plan, and who owns what, when, and where.
Thank you.
And I'll also forward all that to the applicant.
Yes, by all means, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're skipping 6 and going to item 7. 2255 Feather Hill Road. That's our favorite architect of the day. Danny with 2 trees. Are you there?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, let me read the notes here.
Okay.
From the first meeting, very nice project, architectural style is appropriate, story poles are required, which we went out and saw. Study ways to reorganize and simplify access and reduce the length and width of driveway. Study ways to make gables more consistent. 2 chimneys on either side of the second story emphasize the height of the proposed addition. Study ways to mitigate height of the second story. Consider reduction to 1 chimney or use of alternative chimney materials. Ensure that there are no CCNRs that would affect. MBAR noted that the county does not enforce CCNRs. Okay, go ahead, Danny. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll just, if anytime you're not clear, just stop me. I know you've seen this already, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time than's needed. And I know you're all out at the site today. So on the comments, the chimney comment, we did in fact eliminate one of the chimneys, and it does look a lot better. So I appreciate that suggestion. The gables that we kind of had left as hips on the north side, I think it's the other elevation. It was kind of a cost savings measure, but we talked with the owners, and we all greatly prefer the gable. It looks a lot better. So we have made that change, and we can do that kind of with California framing, and it's not a terribly expensive move. So on the north elevation, you can kind of see, one more. So that one, if you look down, we had that as a hip, and the little one to the left, that was a hip. Now those are gables, and it just kind of completes it and ties everything together. So yeah, definitely a good move. On the driveway, we talked about it on site. I showed you, I have in the file, I think there's a study. We looked at this a lot of different ways, and we would prefer to keep the driveway. The owners would prefer in the existing place. We do understand that you could possibly save a little piece of, I'll wait till it focuses. The image on the left is the existing driveway and pavement, and there's quite a bit of it. The middle is what we propose, where we're reducing the service drive and kind of parking area over there. Mostly because our new master bedroom is right there, and we don't want to have cars driving right by. So, but you can use that to access the orchard and the rest of the site. It's the only way to do it for a gardener. But you can see I think you'll see better in Scott's landscape plan how that all works. And on the right here, when we came in earlier, we had this whole area to the right where the hammerhead, we had that all paved all the way down to the pool house. So we've sort of just minimized it as much as we could to have the turnaround plus the one off-street parking that we need next to it. So we have that. I think that, so if our concern with moving the driveway there to that alternate on the right is that it really kind of puts the gate focused right on the front entry of the house, and it's just a steeper drop. It's in a very expensive regrade, and there's just a lot of work associated. It just didn't seem like there's a lot of value to it, and I think we've done a good job of reducing pavement still in this project from what's there. I think we go from 11,000 to 8,000. So hopefully that can see our logic there. And other than that, we not much change. We have material boards to cover the roofing and siding materials, the stone, and it's like a weathered gray, pre-finished, semi-transparent look, just kind of a warm. It's farmhouse in vernacular, but we didn't want the white board batten. Something kind of warm and complementary to the landscape. We like that image. Copper gutters and downspouts, steel doors and windows on the bigger units with a mixture of some low-end metal clad that would be a compatible paint color with that. The exterior lighting are these, Bevelo does make certified dark sky friendly, where they put a shield over the bulbs. So we like those fixtures. They fit with the style, but also, comply with the downlighting requirement. The stone is, it's a synthetic stone, but it has a nice kind of warm, it's actually not quite as white as it looks in that picture. It's a little creamier. We would do an over grout just to kind of give it a, soften the texture of it and make it less about the pattern, almost like a heavy plaster. And I think that about covers it. Scott has a landscape plan, and I know he's on. Walk you through that.
Find that. Is that in your set?
It is, yeah. It's at the back. Let's see what page.
There we go. Ooh, there we go.
Here it is. There it is.
There. Scott, are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great.
So this property is really well screened around the perimeter. Along Feather Hill Road, there's an existing ficus hedge, and there's orchard on the west and south side and hedging on the east side. So the focus of our new planting is really internal around the house. In the front yard, which is the north side of the house, there are a bunch of existing avocado trees. So you open the front door and you're kind of smack looking at orchard essentially. So our goal was to really open that up visually. The driveway is really nicely screened with some existing olive trees and really big Carolina cherry bushes. And so the front yard planting will be dominated by a native meadowgrass planting with a few new olive and western redbud trees. And then on the south side of the house, there's new plantings around the house, new trees on the west side to sort of soften the new master bedroom addition. Those are peppermint willow trees. Another new peppermint willow tree on the east side of the house as well. And then around the pool, that is existing lawn, which we are expanding to the east to link up to the existing, or a new pool, the existing pool house, but we're adding a patio to it. So that lawn will continue and link up to that patio. So there's a better connection between the pool house and the pool itself. Other than the avocado trees in the front yard, I don't think we're taking out any existing trees. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you. Let's go to questions from the board. Tip, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Okay. Don Sharp, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Claire, any questions?
Yeah, go back to that landscape plan. You dropped down a bit. And I just this is a question I just don't remember. But there's the existing garage. Then there's a whole bunch more paving there that's got 1, 2, 3, 4 X's in it. Are those trees to be removed?
Oh, yes. Those are really small olive trees. I mean, they're tiny, fairly recently planted. And the reason for their removal is the fire truck hammerhead is right there.
Got it. Okay, that answers that. That's what I was just confused reading the landscape plan going, why are we taking out trees and putting more paving in when we're trying to get rid of paving? But
there are some photos that, if you want to see those, that I think
no,
show
it's
that.
fine. That's fine. I was just confused by the X's and the amount of paving, given that we've been working on that.
And I may have ended my presentation a little prematurely because I do think there's a landscape lighting plan on the following sheets, and it would be worth getting your input on that.
Well, we're in questions right now, so
Yeah.
let's let the chair
Sure.
do the question
Yeah.
part, and then we'll go back and look at that.
So Tip, did you have any questions? Did I ask you that already? You said no, right? No question. John Watson, questions?
Yes, do you have a site lighting plan that you could show us?
He just tried.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yes, you are looking at it. So on this plan, I mainly have path lighting. It's a copper path light, 12-inch stem with a small hood, a small 2-watt fixture. If you go to the next page, you'll see that path light.
It seemed to be a next page there.
Oh, there isn't. No, there should be. Bummer.
Like the last one you sent, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? It's
Two sheets, right?
if you remember that
Yeah. it's a little-
previous presentation, it's the exact same path light.
Yeah.
It's just
So
that little copper one.
Yeah, and my goal was basically to provide an illuminated path of travel from the guest house to the main house, from the guest parking in front of the gate in the top left corner of the property, along the main entry walk to the front door. I also have a few path lights to get you to the existing shed structure, down to the pool. Everything is very internal to the property. We have the benefit of having a big property with orchards surrounding it. So I think there
So
won't be a whole lot
inside
of light.
all of your lighting plan, it looks like you're only using path lighting and you're not doing any hanging of lights. Is that
There's one location where I have 2 hanging lights, and that is south of the master bedroom.
got it?
Or below the master bedroom. There's an existing pretty nice sized magnolia tree.
Right there, see it? I see it.
And there are 2 hanging fixtures from that tree.
These are.
Those are the it's a can like fixture where the light goes downward.
Right.
There is also little fixtures you can't see, but these little path guys here.
Yeah, and if you recall from my previous presentation, that one light that looked like an uplight, I'm using that in the same way.
We got some here too. Yeah. Okay, was that all your questions, John?
It is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And didn't have any questions. So let's open public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak to this item 72255 Feather Hill Road?
No, Bill, thank you. I don't have anything.
No letters. Okay, all right, we'll close public comment. We'll go to members of the board's comments.
I'm ready for a motion unless somebody wants to say something.
All right, my only
talk about it anymore.
My only comment is it seems like there may be just a few more lights than you'd need out here. That would be my only comment. You might be able to still reduce this quite a bit and still get what you need, because when you add them all up. Are these little fixtures too? What are these? Oh no, that's transformers or something. It just
The reality when it comes to lighting, guys, everybody, because we keep going back to this, is as Scott in his the other project, is that these path lightings are only, they're only like, maybe 18 inches off the ground, and they're down, and they're 1 watt. So you have to have more of them to get the kind of lighting that what he's proposing. Because I've been studying this whole landscape lighting thing. And,
when you look,
and you have to have more of pathway lighting because of they only go 18 inches out in either direction. So
right.
I don't have for me, I think this lighting plan is just fine.
When you look at the photometrics of this particular fixture, the light pattern only goes out 3 feet from the fixture, and then there's no light reading beyond that. So it kind of supports what Claire was just saying.
Well, if Claire's okay with it, I'm okay with it.
And I'm still ready for motion.
Okay, let's get
Go for it, John.
Let's get a motion from John.
I will move for preliminary approval of this project as submitted with the applicant to return on consent with full set of plans.
I will second that.
Seconded by John. All those in favor?
Hold it, Claire.
Oh, yeah, well, I just want to make sure that we're using option 2 as far as the driveway. Is that correct, John?
As presented.
Well,
right.
He's got 2, right?
Well, he presented 3 options to us.
Yeah. I just wanted to show you the logic, how we arrived at what we're proposing. So that was a request by John at the last.
Oh, no. As proposed, that driveway.
Okay, as proposed. Okay, that's fine. I just want to be clear.
Yep.
that we got that driveway sorted out.
Plan. So,
Yep.
okay. So we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. All right.
I'm gonna miss Danny Day.
Thank you. I probably won't see you for a while, but sounds like you're busy.
Okay. All right, thanks. Go on to item 8, number 8. This one's 1490.
And I'll be stepping down on this item.
It will be.
Thank you. See you guys next time.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, MBAR appreciates applicant's responses. MBAR, nice architecture, appropriate design and scale. Consider adding overhang above east facing door. Strongly advise applicant to meet with building staff to discuss building classification, building code requirements, maybe significant impact on design, impact the design and layout. Comments to be forwarded to Montecito Planning Commission. board is favorably disposed to this project because of the nature of the immediate surroundings. The proximity to the setbacks is not a concern to MBAR. Architecture is well designed and appropriately sized and has character that reflects the nature of the community. All righty, go ahead. Whoever from Warner.
Kelly.
Zach from Warner Group.
Zach.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
Good. So yeah, as the notes mentioned, kind of since we last saw you, we went to the MPC, and our variance and project was approved with them. So now we are returning to you. I think kind of the best thing to do is to fly down to sheet A 2.0. All these other items kind of didn't change much. So let's go down to
A2O.
the drawings. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, if you want to zoom in to the perspective shots, that'd be best.
These guys here.
Yes. So one of the design comments was adding an overhang on the east side, which we have done. Just a very simple, 1/2-inch steel plate with a couple of steel brackets to keep the project very clean and minimal. And then one other thing we kind of changed about this elevation is it used to be a single door and now it's a double door. And the reason for that was just to kind of get the proportions a little bit better and to get a little bit less stone on the approach. So the building looks a little bit more presentable when you drive in. One thing to mention as well that happened since our last hearing was we did meet with the fire department on site, and they had a condition of needing to widen the existing roadway on either side of the gatehouse. So if you go up to the site plan above, yep, right there. So essentially we are gently reworking the site walls on the north to the east and west of the building and increasing that to 20 feet. So it'll essentially keep its same shape, but we're just kind of pushing it back to make that work. And this site plan has been conceptually approved by fire. So that's kind of the other change that happened. We've added a section, which you can see down below next to the elevations, just so you can get an idea of the structure, pretty conventionally framed. Stone below and wood above, very simple section. And then finally, we've added some details on the next page, which further explain the project. Again, very minimal. So if you want to zoom in on number, I think 7 it is. 9, number 9. So here it is here. Since last time I increased the overhang to about 12 inches, I think it was only 6 or 7 before, just so we can read that rafter tail a little bit better. We got the slate roof here, stone cladding below the window, and then wood cladding above the window. And then you can see kind of the shape of the stone end wall beyond that everything is dying into. And then if you want to zoom or go up a little bit to detail 4. So this is that awning above the east doorway. Again, just a simple plate steel that is flush out with the header of the door. I think there was also a material board submitted, if we want to look at that. So very simple materials, sandstone, as we all know, just trying to match the same pattern and texture as the existing gate posts. We have the natural slate roof, which is also going to be the roofing for the demo rebuild that we're doing for the main house and an ADU addition elsewhere on the property. And then the wood finish is going to be kind of a light gray to kind of mimic the tone of the sandstone, dark bronze finished windows, and then just a light gray plaster site walls. And that's about it.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have questions? Don, Sharp, questions?
Yes, is there an openable window into the bath area?
Yeah, if you want to go down to a 2.0.
Oh, that's okay. I
so-
didn't see it on the
So-
plan, but
So there's clear stories
Oh,
across the
okay.
whole south and north facade. So those
Okay.
will all be operable. Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, John, any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Claire, did you have any questions?
Nope.
Nope, and I didn't either. Let's open public comment. Was anyone in the audience here to speak to item 1491 Edgecliff Lane?
No, Bill, thank you.
Okay, close public comment. Let's go to board members' comments. John, how do you feel about this?
I think it's great. I'm ready for motion.
Okay, everybody else good with that?
I think,
Yes.
I think we're there.
Let's hear the motion, John.
Mr. Chairman, I will move for final approval as submitted.
Well, it's agendized for preliminary and
I will
final.
move for preliminary and final as submitted.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Lovely little addition to that part of Montecito. I just kind of think this is going to be so sweet right there. Because I walk by it with my dog a lot, and I'm really looking forward to this new building.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, if we're backed up until March, I think we should, hopefully the chairman or woman can work with staff to try to find a way to get that backlog. That's really,
Well, if I may say, it would, there's a way that we can, but it's like,
What do we do?
add more projects to the agenda.
so I think we
Mr.
should
Chair,
chat at some point.
Yeah.
If I could, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on why we're seeing such an influx. When the county moved to a virtual world and an online submittal, we are seeing that there are a lot more projects being submitted, and it's 24/7. They come in weekends, they come in, Monday through Sunday. So it's just, I think it's an unintended consequence of the virtual world that we're living in.
I think it has to do with the fact that there's a great economy, the house prices are booming, there's a lot of money in the system, and I don't think it has anything to do with you guys. I think it has to do with the world outside. And
Very possible. I just know that we're seeing a huge amount of cases coming in.
I think that that's the result of what I was talking about.
We limit the amount, and rightfully so. We could be here till 7 at night.
Yeah.
I think that the chairman and the planning staff, let's wait till the new chairman gets elected, and planning staff should try to figure that out. Maybe we bump it up one item, try that out for a meeting, bump it up, see how that works.
So Sharon.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna, I mean, there's no rule or land use code that says that we have to stay with 18. That was something that we did as a group a long time ago because we didn't want to have long meetings, but maybe that is the answer, that we on MBAR have to put up with longer meetings and longer agendas.
Sharon and Kimberly, what's the influx? Are you saying we should be seeing like agenda and a half more, like 15 to get?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I that far, Bill. I mean, just having sat on MBAR for years, when we were having agendas of 13, 14, and 15, we were here till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. That's why we as a group decided that we wanted to have shorter, less projects on the agendas.
Maybe there are more items too that can be. I don't know if it's a subcommittee, or I don't know even how that would work, but that could be administratively approved or that don't need to go through MBAR or that go to consent?
No, that's all set, that is set in stone.
Yeah,
That's a
your-
land use policy that, you know, it has to come, everything has to come to MBAR, Bill, everything.
I think that what we do is I think we're limited to 8 now. Let's try 9.
No, we're at 9.
Maybe we try 10. So
I would say 10.
10.
Okay.
and then we'll see how that goes. If it's really terrible, we'll cut it back to 9. If it works, we'll stay with it.
And it really, and from my point of view, I guess we're just talking now, that it really is it falls on the chairman as to being able to move all of the projects forward very quickly. You know, like today we had a couple of projects, and this is no reflection on you, Bill, at all. You're doing a great job as chair, especially because you have to manage all that other stuff. But, you know, where you allowed public comment to go on and on and on. And that's because you're a nice guy. I get that you're respectful, but sometimes you're going to have to cut, whoever chair is going to have to manage that kind of thing to protect the board. That's just how I see it. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, some of these projects that we do, we can go through much faster. Mr. Watson's very good about pushing the project faster during the comment period. And some of us go on, like me, I go on and on and on, and I'm not paying attention. So it's kind of, it's a mixed bag here that, you know, moving forward.
Well, and I'm relatively new and still learning the ropes, but I appreciate the input and we'll try to get better, but certainly, you know, it is the chair's duty to kind of move things along. And it's hard to be rude, and I don't
I
want
can cut him off, Bill.
What's that?
I can cut him off.
Yeah.
No, you just have to cut them off. You know, I mean, that's kind of, you know, I mean, having been on the planning commission and actually the board of supervisors, they cut them off. It's like, well, move on. You got 3 minutes, move on.
Mr. Chairman, I will move for adjournment.
Thanks, John.
I will second that.
Seconded by Don. All those.
Okay, I'll see you guys in a month.
Aye.
If they let me out.
Aye. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Nice to see you guys, Don.
Yeah, good to see you, Don.
Thank you.
Oh, how do we get out of here? I got to get out of here.
Oh, no.
Bye, Claire. Have fun.
Bye.
Over, huh?